progressing very fast. The incident took place in hallowed ground, San Sebastian Abbey.
Pump up that volume, pump up that volume.
Has given the church problems before. I sense a great evil coming from there. Something dark that only you can help solve. I have requested the Abbey's records be brought to you in the library. Look into it.
Still low, sir. Still low.
I will continue investigating while you are on your journey.
You don't pose to be talking, brother.
Our sins will seek us out.
Gabriele, go to Spain and help this child. But be careful. This demon sounds dangerous.
Time to set the stage with the lights off. Let the little nigga breathe till the fight's lost. You ain't never like the room with the bright sauce. Hail Mary, they despise what the light brought. Let them roach niggas bleed if they can't see. Side near the TV, what you can't be. They say that murder on my mind, now they can't breathe. Take a picture of the crew, that's your last peep. Oh, it need me your love, yeah, that's just me. Keep them jumping like some frogs, so they might be leave when the sun sets. And they don't really wanna bleed from the gunplay. And like mine, nigga smoking weed on the one-way street, nigga. Yeah, we see we outside with it. Pull up to the base like we might be with it on guard. Side these niggas like bullshit and they fraud. Let me chop them down with the sword. Walk them down like they live hard. This the toughest you gon' be in, we too hard. And you don't really want that smoke, my G. With B-side net on TV. This the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Keep that off your lip before you get flipped. We got sources over here, we don't just spit. Too many bosses over here, y'all just legit. Put them niggas in the game, let them get real. Don't even step unless you come in with that scholarship. That economic tip, gotta make a dollar flip. And I might be next, I don't give a damn, a truth rolling with me, so I'm feeling like the summer man. Too many gon' hate, gotta make a stand. I'm just trying to duck the lake, you don't understand. Read them when I greet them, that's my best plan. Head first shit, I'm just saying. Nigga meet me in LA, oh you just playing. Too many be fake, what the base saying. So I tell them they don't want no smoke before they end up in the newspaper next day. Smoke, this the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. And this is it right here. The toughest you gon' ever be in. You wasn't conscious before us. Y'all niggas was asleep. We woke the sleeping giant. We did it. Side net of TV. So stay your ass in your little bitty box. Where you feel safe.
Yeah.
Cause it's motherfucking monsters over here. Real monsters.
My God, my goodness. My God, my goodness. Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters. My goodness, my goodness. And looking like the new sheriff in town. And looking like the new sheriff in town. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know who it is. It's Sister Christina Nick, baby. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. My goodness. And brothers and sisters on the left-hand side of your screen, looking like a thief in the night, Is that Jesus? Is that Black Jesus coming back like a thief in the night, brothers and sisters? By the name of Brother Mr. And you better say Mr. if you're nasty, Mr. Free Range, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Sonetta TV production, along with the ultimate debate league, brothers and sisters. My goodness. We are about to handle some business up in here, by the grace of our elder and the godfather of the conscious community, Brother Netta. My goodness. Brother Sa, you want to say something real quick, brother, before I introduce our extravaganza debate tonight, bro?
Yes, this is going to be a powerful debate right here. We already know Christina Nick. She's the favorite right now. And my man Free Range is coming in with his, with the smoke. This is the Ultimate Debate League ran by BlackJesusMinister in LV, and I agreed to host it. And so I'm going to step back and let Black Jesus do his thing. So we remember, Christina, you got a real heavy hitter coming up on the 24th. So I hope you are preparing for that. If there are any questions before y'all get started, the time is now to ask Black Jesus. And I'm going to step back and let y'all go ahead and rock.
All right. Well, son, then a little later on, when you get a chance, I want you to flash that flyer a little later on. You still got that flyer I sent to your email?
Which one?
The flyer of the debate between these two. You remember you told me to send it to your email?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, good. Brothers and sisters, welcome, family. Welcome all over the world to the Ultimate Debate League, being broadcast live right here, live stream at Sonetta TV. Brothers and sisters, my goodness, tonight's debate title is, did God create man or did man create God? My goodness, I ain't never heard it like that, y'all. I ain't never heard it like that. Tonight's title, whatever side of the planet, damn it, you are on, brothers and sisters, it's going down. And these two debaters are going to answer the question from their perspective. Did God create man? Did y'all hear that? Did God create man? I wonder if that's Christina Nick's side of the argument. Or did man create God? And could that be the position of our resident atheist brother, Mr. Free Range? So let's hear from Mr. Free Range, and then we're going to switch on over to Christina Nick. So, Brother Free Range, will you introduce yourself to the people? Take 1 minute to introduce yourself to the people and reveal if I was correct on regards to your side of the argument, brother. Unmute your mic, brother, if you talk.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. So yes, absolutely. I do take the position that man created God. All evidence that I'm of sin and supporting documentation, arguments I'm gonna make does support that. Seem to be pretty evident. You can find me on Clubhouse as well as other social media at Free Range or Free Open Range. And I do take the atheist position that God doesn't exist, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about what the concept of God come from, or where did man come from. And of course, since I don't believe God exists, therefore, we definitely are going into how did God come about and how did man entertain this idea.
All right, Brother Free Range, thank you very much. And to the lady of the hour, to the lady of the minute, Christina Nick is in it, and she's going to let us know in 1 minute what her position is, brothers and sisters, and introduce herself. Go right ahead, dear sister. Go right ahead.
So my position is that man did not create God because he could not fathom, cannot do it. You know, you just can't pull that out. That God, in fact, created man, right, to even be able to even have these kind of concepts. So I call me the Lone Ranger tonight. I got my hat on tonight because I'm going to slay the Bible bandit. right? Take him down this Bible brick road today and show him that in the science, that in the universe, that in philosophy, in mathematics, that everything points to a most powerful, all-powerful, all-knowing creator that in fact created man, as the Bible says. So God created man. Man can't even get himself out the bed without God. We're going to show that.
Lord have mercy. My goodness, y'all. Y'all see this is going to be a good one. Make sure right now, y'all share this live stream all over the place. Post it on your social media platforms, brothers and sisters. Go wake up your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, Pookie, Ray. Wake up the dog. You know what I'm saying? Even dogs watch TV. Even dogs even watch the computer. Come on now. Y'all know these dogs are smarter than what they used to be. You know what I'm saying? So, brothers and sisters, this is going to be a good one. And I have been waiting for this for quite a while. And we at the Ultimate Debate League, we have been working overtime, bringing the best debaters all over the world. Bringing the best debaters all over the world to the Ultimate Debate League. And you're going to get a sample of that today, tonight, whatever side of the planet that you're on. Now, brothers and sisters, let me lay out the debate format quickly. Let me lay out the debate format. We're going to have a 5-minute opening, and then we will proceed to 3 13-minute rounds. 3 13-minute rounds, and in each of those 13-minute rounds, your first 3 minutes is your rebuttal. And I'm not going to tell you when your 3 minutes is up. You just know that you have a total of 13 minutes. So you can kind of estimate in your head when 3 minutes is over with, because I don't want to mess up your thinking pattern and all that kind of stuff, okay? All right. So again, 3 13-minute rounds. Now, the person who goes first, of course, will only have 10 minutes. And they will have their 3-minute rebuttal at the end of the last person who gives their final round. And proceeding, and then after the 3-minute round, the 3 13-minute rounds, we're going to take a break. We're going to take maybe like a 5-minute break, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Or probably less than that. And then we will proceed to the question round. And when we proceed to the question round, the debaters will pose 5 questions to each other. No more than 5. They can do less than 5, but no more than 5 questions. And you have 2 minutes to reply to each question. Now, it's up to you guys when we get there. If you guys want to ask your questions successively, or if you guys want to alternate, that'll be up to you guys, okay? All right? And immediately at the end of the question round, when both debaters have asked their 5 questions, we're going to go to their 5-minute conclusion. Both debaters will give a 5-minute conclusion, and that will be the end of the debate. And then we're going to hear from our judge, Brother Inger. I don't know if he's in the background, but he's definitely not on stage yet. So maybe somebody might want to pull him up here to say something to the people briefly. But Brother Inger, there he is. There's that handsome brother, balling and crawling, swinging and banging, just like Black Jesus Minister, all the way from Houston, Texas. Your boy Inger is our judge for today. So, Brother Inger, would you like to say something to the people real quick, brother?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir, man. I'm happy to be here today, man. I'm ready to see what's going down today, man. It's going to be a very interesting debate and topic. I'm ready to see what they got going, man. I'm ready.
All right, brother. So, they're about to be in your hands, brother. And they're expecting you to pay close attention, because when it's time for you to give your deliberation, brother, and after you're finished giving your decision, the loser will have the opportunity to ask you 3 questions as to why you didn't give them your vote. Is that understood, Brother Inger?
Understood.
All right. And finally, the loser can, if they feel led so, can file a protest against you, the judge, if they feel that you were biased or that you did not make a just decision. And likewise, they can file a protest against their opponent if they brought false information or told a fib. Okay? That's how we doing it over here at the Ultimate Debate League, brothers and sisters, to ensure who our champion will be. will be crowned square and fair. Whoever will become the debate champion of the Ultimate Debate League will be crowned fair and square. So, brothers and sisters, let us proceed. Let us proceed. Who was the person that said that they were going first? Who was that?
I have a question, Black Jesus.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. The question I have for you is, are you streaming on Clubhouse so the people can hear it as well?
Yes, sir. Say hi to my people on Clubhouse, sir.
Please shout out to Clubhouse listeners. If y'all can, come on over to Starting of the Studios and click it. That way y'all can see the slides that Christine and Nick got. You can see the sources. So if y'all get time to come on in the building, come on over here and get in where y'all can see it live. Go ahead, brother.
Exactly. Again, so which one of you contested debaters, warriors, gladiators is going first? Who's going to draw first blood?
I'll go first.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm going to pull my clock out. Let me pull it up. Let me pull my stopwatch on my phone real quick. Remember, this is a 5-minute opening. You don't have to take the whole 5 minutes, but you will be notified when the 5 minutes occur. All right.
Okay, so you're gonna give me a 30-second or a minute warning when it comes
to do you need a 30-second or a minute warning? I'll give you a minute warning. I'll do that
just in case.
Yes, sir. No, I will give you a minute warning. I will give you a minute warning.
When it get down to 3 minutes, you say 3 minutes. You got to let them know how much time
Yeah.
they got.
I was just doing this for the opening, sir. So,
okay.
But I'm glad you brought that up. When we get to the 13-minute rounds, guys, I'll say 5 minutes and I'll say 2 minutes. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so brother, we're ready when you ready, free range.
Let's do it.
All right.
So, of course, all evidence points to man creating God, as we stated before, as we already know. God is a concept that is very diverse amongst every individual man. That has always been the case. When we study ancient civilizations, the first civilizations we can come across, they're all paganistic, meaning they believe in multiple gods. That's Hinduism, that's, of course, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, the list goes on. Is consistent with the idea that man created God, and every evidence supports that. With those concepts being the case, they relegated God to factions of nature, love, war, the wind, water, the sun, etc. This is where these concepts come from, and they've evolved over time to be monotheistic to what we have now today, one particular God ruling over all existence. So the deeper we search into this, again, we find this common pattern. And even in the Bible, God talks about multiple gods, especially in Genesis, because during that time, theoretically, and evidence suggests this, is that even in the Bible itself, God, or the characters, the men who wrote the Bible, were competing for dominance of godship. Of course, when you look at Genesis, it talks about man creating God in their image and likeness. Man is becoming like God due to the fall of man. You know, man has become like us, knowing good and evil, etc. It's constant things saying that. The reason why, because again, if we were made in God's image and likeness, because God said we made them like us. Who is us? Even in the Tower of Babel, God is saying, according to the Bible, that man is made like us, or nothing can stop them what they choose to do. If you consider those statements, God is considered this one-dimensional being, this one unique being that nothing can be implicated or replicated to be like. With that being the case, who was he creating man like us in that context? Meaning that if there's a us, that means there's something equivalent to God. There's something else. There's some other beings. If God himself, according to the Tower of Babel, said nothing will be able to stop man, then this being is saying that he is not all-powerful, not omnipotent. And then God in the Bible is shown to be repent and to make mistakes, etc. All these traits are consistent with man. Every single trait, the regret, the anger, the jealousy, all those things are just men. And the whole concept aligns with historical man being kings and having oligarchies, let alone monarchies. Monarchies, of course, one person ruling, but most monarchies or oligarchies would have a chosen few people who they trust to help rule with them, and that's what this God character aligns with. That God character has always looked for support and needed support to do so. The whole idea is coming from men trying to make sense of their reality, Hence, they created a concept to shift the buck of responsibility. So it's not coming from me, it's coming from this supernatural power. And that's not good enough to just say that God exists. So therefore, they create rules such as if you disobey this God, you go to hell, which is the ultimate incentive to obey God, because you don't want to be tortured. You don't want to be in the God's of you want to be at the God's mercy, and more so, you want to be at the favor. So it goes into a sense of narcissism to where you have a particular relationship with this God. I know we're in the opening, so we're going to get more into it because I do want to get to these slides. But what I'm going to show here, because I know time is wrapping up, I'm going to show ancient man and their start of getting into the concept of God. And again, God's plural, because that's where we started. We started with a multitude of gods, and then we evolved to one God. And the logical question being, if God created man, they would never come to a conclusion that there's multiple, because they would start with the idea there's only one. They would only rely on that, and that would be the bulk of our history. Most religions or most beliefs of God believe in multiple gods. Hinduism is the oldest known religion we know today. That religion believes in multiple gods, and there's a ton of them. I can't even, like, it's just
1 minute.
So with that being said, the whole concept of creating man, which I'm also going to address, that does not exist in science. That's not a thing at all that scientists entertain. The concept of creation, and I'll land on this in my 1 minute. The concept of creation is a belief. It's not even a theory. There's nothing we've ever witnessed being created. So to come to the idea that God created man, let alone everything in the universe, is a belief at best. There's nothing to determine or nothing to conclude that anything ever was created, let alone man. I'll land on that. Thank you.
All right, Brother Inga. All right, brother. You definitely had about 20 seconds left, but all right. You did relent. Now, the new sheriff in town, Sister Christina Nick. Go right ahead, dear sister. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to hit the clock.
It is interesting that my brother landed on belief. I am Christina Nick. I'm coming to show you that the facts point to a divine creator, a divine mind of the universe, a divine order. If there are laws of nature, which we all believe in, laws of nature, then it constitutes that there has to be a lawgiver. If there are laws of philosophy and the divine thinking and critical thinking, then there has to be, right, a lawgiver. If there is a moral law that we follow, an absolute moral law, right, then it constitutes that somebody gave us this law. And I'm telling you that somebody is the all-powerful, eternal God of the Bible. He did not fail or lie to us yet. We're not talking about belief. And only thing that we're talking about belief is the belief in this brother's own logic that's going to fail him today, as we see in his opening, that he's going off of his own logic, his own conclusion, the logic that was given to him by God himself. So those Hindus and all these people all over time have made what we would call idols. Let me show you on my screen real quick something. So let's see if we can share our screen. Let's see here. Share screen. Select this title. Hold on 1 second. Let me just pull it up real quick. All right. So if you see my screen, can y'all see my screen? Black Jesus?
Okay, Sonetta's got to pull it up. There you go.
See if he can see it. Okay. I want to show you that this brother doesn't understand that we have. So idol, the definition of idol, an image or representation of a god used as an object of worship. This is from the Oxford Dictionary. So we're not just talking about mere representations and images of God. We're not talking about man's imagination, because the Bible talks about that and condemns that. We know that man has this imagination, but this imagination was given to it by the eternal God, right? So we're talking about God himself. Did man make God himself? So what is the definition of God? So when we say God, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to find it on my screen. I have to pull it back up again. Let's see here. So when we say God, I'm just going to type in God definition. I had it pulled up, but somehow it's not there. So here we go. The definition of God, right? And hold on, not in Hinduism. Hold on, 1 second. So God, the definition of God. Here we go. So the definition of God, we are talking about in the Oxford Dictionary, the creator and the ruler of the universe, the source of all moral authority, the supreme being. It says a superhuman being, not humans, but a superhuman being, or spirit worship, as having power over nature and human fortunes, and it's a deity. So I just want you to note the difference, right, between God and an idol, okay? I want to stop sharing real quick. How do I stop sharing? Share right there. So the difference between God and the idol, the brother is describing idols. And we don't deny that idols have been made. We don't deny that Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Roman and Norse mythology has failed us. They have tried to find ways, right, to understand the world, but they are drastically different from the story of the Bible that not only gives you the creation of man, but it also gives you the meaning for his life, the purpose, and the plan. And this brother can't give you any of that. And I need you to understand that. So what I want you to see is that he's not going to bring science. He's not going to be honest about the science and the facts that shows that the Bible was right 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, before scientists. He's not going to show you and admit to you that God has given us the capacity by creating us in his image to think at a critical thinking level. He's not going to show you that neuroscience proves, DNA proves God, neuroscience proves God, and the universe, the grand scheme of everything, right, puts man at the apex of the universe, something only a God can do. He cannot tell you where man came from. If man created God, who created man? And I promise you, he won't be able to show you any of that. But I will show you unequivocally that the God of the Bible is the supreme God that created man today. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was right on time, right on time. Brother Free Range, your first round, official round, will be 10 minutes, and then every round after that will be 13 minutes. Remember, the first 3 of your 13 will be your rebuttal, and then you will continue on for your 10. I'm not going to give a signal for the end of the 3 minutes. You should be able to kind of figure that out in your head, and then go into your rebuttal and then your your information. Since you're going first, Brother Free Range, you will have your last 3-minute rebuttal at the end of Christina Nick's last round. Is that understood, dear brother?
Yes.
Okay, so right now you have 10 minutes, and we're going to start as soon as you start talking, brother.
All right. Yes. So let's get to it. So it's very important to understand the origin of this concept of God. Now, to answer the question, where did man come from? Again, we have no evidence of any type of creation. So let's define terms. Creation means there's 2 different definitions for it. One is the definition, of course, we know about molding things together. So yes, someone did create a laptop, someone created a car, someone created a satellite. Created means that we got material evidence that's here, material things that exist in our world, and we composed and modified them to be what they are. That's a okay definition of creation that we are all okay with. Everyone agrees with that. The second definition, which is antithetical to science, is that proof coming out of nowhere. Things that just appear out of nowhere. So that means matter that wasn't here that is now here. We have no evidence of that, which goes into a belief system. And again, if God did create man, then when did he introduce himself? That's the most important question. Why do all the historical religions have paganism? Again, it's different from being believing in different qualities of God, meaning one person, this God can do a set of things. He may be controlling the seas, the oceans, the sun, etc. But that's one being. These people we're talking about, in all civilizations we know of, all cultures, they're talking about different gods doing different things. So let's look at these men right here, these stages of men. And this is going to go into some of the questions that we talked about earlier. So bear with me for a moment while I get this up, because it's very important to highlight where did man introduce themselves to God or vice versa. So right here, as you see, these are the stages of man today from this diagram. So the oldest we got is, it's hard to say these names, so I'm just zoom up on them. I'm going to take my best shot at them. Sahelanthropus, Candices. I'm pretty sure I said that right. Well, Cadesis. But anyhow, you see that man there. This is way past the Bible stages, which is allegedly 6,000 years old. But we see this man right here is approximately 7 million years old. We got the next stage, 6 million, 5 million, 4 million, 2 or 3 million, of course, to modern day. Now I'm jumping stages just for the sake of time, but you see these different types of men existing. Now again, these are the ones we found and confirmed so far. Okay. Now what's very important here, you see these stages of these men right here. They existed simultaneously at the same time, different types of men, stemming from most likely this man, but maybe an unknown. And that's perfectly fine because all of science is predicated on finding information to understand our reality. Unlike religion, which is saying this is reality and accept it as is, and trying to get things that we find to correlate with it. So to sum that up, to clean it up, science, look at the evidence and see what it leads you to. Religion gives you a lead saying this is the outcome, and then they look for the evidence, which is the most backward way of thinking. You don't look for, you don't determine the outcome until you find the evidence. So you find evidence first, and then you determine the outcome. So that's very important. So look at all these men here, these types of beings existing around the same stage, potentially deriving from the same entity. Now, religion didn't come into play. The concept of God didn't come into play to this time frame. Actually, the latest time frame today, within the last several thousand years. So there was no doctrine, no concepts of man believing in a God, period. No multiple gods, no singular God, nothing of the sort. So where do you get the concept that man was created by God, which we see predates all theoretical ideas of God according to religion in general, let alone Islam and Christianity? But you have men existing all this time without God, raping, murdering, building, loving, families, schools, etc., doing things that are communicable that should have some sense of morality that is allegedly coming from God. No evidence suggests that. None. No evidence suggests that. All the evidence points to man creating God, which is coming from Homo sapiens, when we first start determining or trying to understand our reality. Let me go back here. Let me stop sharing this page. Okay, so going into the oldest religion, of course, like I said, Hinduism and Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, etc. We got all types of gods. We know Horus, we know Krishna, we know Mithra, we know all these gods we can talk about and what they do and how they came about. The concept of God is a psychological phenomenon with man. The reason why I call it a psychological phenomenon is because, and even and she said I came up with this, but even psychologists today even agree with that too, particularly, of course, those who are atheists. Let me find that page too, but while I talk, I can still find it and tell you. It's the idea that man is trying to, one, cope with our reality from the things that we don't understand, which is basically out of ignorance. That's where God comes from. Whenever we don't understand things, we've created God. So when man would survive storms, earthquakes, and any other natural disaster, men would say it must be the wind god or the earth god or some type of god controlling this. And again, multitudes of gods. That was always the case. Has always been the case.
5 minutes.
Thank you. Always been the case historically speaking. Okay, so God was personifications of nature. And then as men continue to evolve and start creating literature and poetry, they start putting stories to these gods. Again, we have a lot of fiction in most of our literature historically and current day. So when God was created, they of course spoke about God in these fashions, and then they propagate them to their children, and then they start creating stories. And then they start feeling like they have a personal relationship with these gods. That Zeus created man, and he trumped the Titans, and those guys had their own disputes, Hades and Hermes and all these other creatures. And they started doing things, pushing things around in their environment, affecting man. And of course, you got some good story, good literature, and that's actually the best benefit out of religion, that we get good literature, entertaining literature. And it's not hard to do because we do it all the time. We do it with Marvel comics. We do it with the Game of Thrones, that series, and so many others. The Hobbit, and the list goes on. It is good entertainment, but it's not reality. The difference is with current modern day religion versus old religion, those religions have died. All them most of the polytheistic religions have died. Hinduism is one of the still strongest ones still practiced today. But most of the religions have died. The reason being, the more we evolve with technology, the less effective God becomes, the less real God becomes. So, for example, when you study those ancient religions, God was once in the mountains. Of course, we know the famous Mount Olympus. There were several others, but let me go ahead and skip past that to get back past my point. Because we could find, he's in depths of the ocean, Poseidon, etc. So there's tons of gods in different places, including with ancient Egypt. These gods existed in places where men didn't know. And then as we was able to travel and explore and go to these so-called unknown places, God moved to different places. So he's in the heavens, he's in the skies. Now we can go to the skies. We can build buildings that exceeds the clouds. We got airplanes. We got spaceships. We can go into the clouds. So now that God is deeper in outer space, He's somewhere in the heavens where we can't see. And now we can see a great deal of the heavens, especially in our immediate environment, because there's a certain portion of our universe or even galaxy that hasn't been seen. So now God is just a spirit. God keeps evolving based on man's knowledge. The more we know, the more we test, the more God changes. An inchangeable being that keeps changing. And then when you read the Bible, again, God is talking about gods in the Bible, talking about multiple beings. God is making a mistake. God repents to man. If you read Exodus 42:13, I gotta look that up. I'm gonna come back to that. But God repents to man and show his mistakes. God has ended the world several times according to the Bible with the Noah story, which goes down to incest, but we're not talking about incest today. But he created Adam and Eve. Okay, he made a mistake with them because they betrayed him, and then he punished them forever. And then you got the Noah story where man was too evil, Sodom and Gomorrah and all that stuff that preceded that. He ends the world, and now he's still unsatisfied with man. So
2 minutes.
Thank you. This God isn't imperfect. This God is full of flaws. This God is a made-up concept that people continue to build on, because Islam is just a better version of Christianity. They kind of correct some of the mistakes, but it's still flawed too. And as a religion evolves, and it's not really powerful today, because when you go to church today, they don't even talk about God like that. Church now today is a big business, and that's for the reason because they know a lot of pastors, and I spoke to a great deal of them, know some of them personally. They don't believe in the Bible like most people do, or even the religions they talk about. They know it's business now. So that's why you see the difference in church. Most of these people are a form of atheists, which is not inherently a bad thing, but they're types of people, I don't want to say atheists, they're theists who don't believe in the doctrine they teach. That's probably the best way I could put it. But all the evidence suggests that man was created by God, because if God existed, the best thing he could have done, and still do if he still exists, is introduce himself to man and dispel of the lies and the false doctrine. But he won't do that because he doesn't exist. And all the claims of man, and Sinai said this other day, I wish he didn't say it because this has always been my argument. God exists in billions of aspects because God is just the imaginations of billions of people. And every single person you talk to about God, they have their own interpretation of God. That doesn't work like anything else. I said this before. We all know Obama. If I describe Obama as a little girl, or somebody describes him as a rock band, we wouldn't be talking about the same person. Because I said, hey, I hung out with Obama yesterday. He's like, oh, the former president. Like, yep. Yeah, man, he's getting older. He's going to go to college next year. It's like, hold on, what are you talking about? Like, what? Are we talking about the same person? And I start giving you traits about Obama, and it doesn't align with what you know. We're not talking about the same person. That's the analogy with God. God shouldn't change that much based on every person you speak to, because God should be a definitive person. We all are definitive. We all have definitive traits and characteristics. If I ask you, was God a turd or a gay man? Of course you would say no. That's something God wouldn't be, because that's antithetical to God.
Time, brother Free Range. Time.
Okay. Damn, no
time, brother Free Range. Thank you, brother. Thank you. That was the end of the top of the first round, brothers and sisters. Tonight's debate title, got tongue tied there just for a second, is: did God create man, or did man create God, brothers and sisters? My goodness, these debaters are going to answer that question, and we got a judge on the scene who's going to make a decision. So again, thank you, brother Free Range, brothers and sisters. Make sure y'all got it right. It's Mr. If you're nasty, Mr. Free Range, brothers and sisters. My goodness, Janet Jackson gonna get me for that. But anyway, go ahead, my sister Christina Nick.
So,
whatever you think, sister.
Where can I start with my rebuttal? First and foremost, he is just proving that he's just not prepared for the toughest environment on YouTube, the toughest environment in the debate field, because he's not coming with sources, he's coming with his own ideas, his own concepts. So notice that this is how atheists do, that he is absolutely stating that God cannot exist, and he has no evidence of that lack of existence. He has no evidence. His lack of evidence of God, right, is his evidence. And we all know that scholars and scientists always say that the lack of evidence is not the proof, brother. You see what I'm saying? So if you have to be honest as a scientist, you have to be honest as a person who is intellectually thinking about this thing, that just because you can't understand him, just because you don't have the knowledge of God in your heart, it does not make him a figment of everybody else's imagination. So that's the first thing. So he's a self-proclaimed atheist. And if you look up the word atheist, it's basically just saying that at the end of the day, I'm going to show you what an atheist means. It just means that because I don't understand God, he cannot therefore exist. And so it limits God to our understanding. So it says atheism, the idea that the question of the existence of God is meaningless, right? No, this is not the one I wanted. But it says because the word of God, that word God has no coherent and has an ambiguous definition. So we already defined it. But if you go into atheism, it's basically saying that the understanding and the lack of understanding of how God moves and how God does constitutes that he cannot actually exist. So he would have been more honest by just saying he does not understand. He does not understand the Bible. He does not understand the scriptures. He does not understand the Tower of Babel. So I'm going to rebut that just now. If you go to Genesis chapter 11, he said that God had to be equal with man because no one could stop him. But if you go to Genesis chapter 11, it said that God himself stopped him because he had to come down. So there was nothing that can stop him in creation. So God himself came down. I'm going to show you where that says that real quick, and I'm going to try not to use up all my 3 minutes. But that God stopped them. God himself came down. And it should be in Genesis 11:6. I'm going to pull it up real quick, and then I'm going to pull up my presentation right after that. It says, and Genesis 11:6, and behold, and the Lord said, behold, they are one people and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do now will be impossible for them. Right? That's in verse 6. And then I'm not sharing the screen because I just want to get to it and then get to my presentation. So my screen is toggling right now. Hold on, let's see. All right. And so then if you go back to verse 7, it says, and so the Lord, it says, come, let us go down and there confuse their language so that they may not understand one another's speech. Is verse 7. So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Okay. And so I just want you to know that the Lord himself stopped them because man, yes, although he was created as the apex of God's creation, God himself, which makes him more powerful than man. So it just shows the man that he does not understand the stories. He does not understand the science. I'm going to show you he don't understand the science. He's saying that nothing, he said, came from nothing, right? I mean, he said that it had to be some kind of material substance or some kind of event to happen, that things that were already here created other things. Well, I want you to see, hold on, let me get my screen up here now. I want you to see that that's in fact what science actually states. Science is actually proving that nothing, that science is saying, the Bible is not saying that that the material world didn't come from anything. We know where the material world came from in the Bible. Science, in fact, the Big Bang Theory is saying that all the complexity of the universe, right, is coming, right, from one point. So I want you to see this real quick, and let's see if I can share my screen. Let's share screen, and here we go. Let's see here, window, and I want to share the entire screen. Can we share all of it? Share. Is it coming up?
I don't see your screen yet, Brother Sarnetta. Are you with us, Can you share her screen, Brother Sarnetta? All right, there you go.
All right, so I just want you to see here. Hold on 1 second. Let's see here.
Sarnetta, her screen disappeared.
It's not here no more?
It was there a second ago. Brother Sarnetta, can you share her screen, brother?
Bro, if it's not a screen there, I'm not sharing it. I'm right here.
There's no screen up?
No.
I guess, yo, we don't see your computer or phone or whatever you're using. But we
hold on. Let's see here. Let's see if we can do it again. Share screen. Window.
And I have stopped your time.
Let me know if we got it. So we got my screen up, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just want you guys to know that he was talking about something coming from nothing. So when we pull up the Big Bang Theory, right? First and foremost, just want you to know that the Big Bang Theory is saying that and I'm going to get into this later, so I'm not going to get into it right now. So let me just pull up my presentation. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So my presentation here, we're going to show you that the Big Bang Theory actually supports that that actually at one point in time, that all the diversity of the universe, that it all started at one point out of nothing, that everything just came out of nothing, right? And that's what science proves. So he's showing he does not understand the science. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That even in evolution, it talks about a primordial soup. And I can show you the resources here where it talks about the primordial soup, right? And it's talking about the fact that all the complexity, going back to my presentation, if we go down right here, all this complexity right here, look at this, all this complexity, not just in the universe. Can y'all see this right here? All the complexity right here. All these animals, let me see if I can get it bigger for you. Hold on. Let's go in. All the complexity of life forms. I'm trying to get it bigger for y'all. Yeah, let's go back now. So all the complexity of life came from a common origin, and it's a primordial soup that cannot be recreated. Okay, so that's my rebuttal to him. And then even for people over time with Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, yes, he's right that they formed idols, right, to try to understand God, to try to understand creation. They formed these idols. I'm trying to get my screen to go back down. Let's see if we can get it back down. Let's get it back to 100%. So yes, they indeed created idols, but think about the difference, the differences of Greek mythology over Egyptian mythology. Greek mythology says that that it was the gods arguing and fighting, and they were human-like. Actually, they made the gods in the form of human. That's what the definition of idol is. And so in the definition of idol, let me see if we get the slideshow right here. In the definition of idol, right, we see that it's an image that you create for God. So in Greek mythology, in Egyptian mythology, and all these mythologies over the time, which failed compared to the Bible, right, that they're creating images or idols after man. But in the Bible, we have an understanding of God and a different kind of God. I just want you to know that it's different. So he only proved in idolatry. Greeks believe that the gods were fighting and creating chaos. Egyptians believe that there was a world created out of a chaotic world, and that they have to do rites and rituals to maintain the balance of the earth. And in the Bible, it teaches that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, that God set up order first, okay? That God set up order first and complexity first. And then he didn't put man into a chaotic world. He created man in his own image to rule a world he already ordered. So Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. So what is the image of God? It is separate from animals. It's separate from the apes. Notice that the brother showed you that these different species of humans, they were all still human. God didn't talk about species in Genesis 1 and 2. He talks about kind. You'll see that word kind in Genesis chapter 1. You'll see it also in Genesis chapter 6 in the Noah story, that he did each of its own kind, its own family, not the species, but this is equivalent to the family. Okay, so he showed that all these men coexisted in the same stage. That was a cut to his point. So it says, the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the earth, from the ground, and he breathed into him the breath of life. Okay, so it's showing, hold on one second. I want to exit full screen. And I want you to see that the science does confirm the facts of a common ancestor. Okay, so 99.9% of the human genome, okay? 99.9% of the human genome, I'm trying to find my resource up here. it shows that it came from a common ancestor. Okay. Let's see here. Let me real quick. That Eve existed through the DNA, and I'm gonna show you that in another slide. I'm gonna show it to you in another slide. So I'm gonna show you that this brother, that all of creation shows, right? All of creation shows that we have a common ancestor. Science proves we have a common ancestor. Science proves the Bible. Okay. I want you to see something here too. We have the scientific method here. Okay. Can y'all still see my screen? So
yes, we see your screen.
The scientific method is showing us that at the end of the day, let me show you this. This is the scientific method. It starts with an observation and a question. Then you go through the methods and you perform, you create a hypothesis, you experiment it, you analyze the data, you report the conclusions, and it's peer reviewed. But notice it starts with an observation. So I want you to know that observational science and experimental science is different than historical science, okay? And so the thing about historical science is that you cannot observe what is thousands and millions of years in the past. It's not observational. You cannot create a repeat. So I'm going to show you that even the science, although we cannot repeat it, that first and foremost, creation science is a historical science. That it does offer it definitely offers a reason for man's creation and a purpose for it. And that science is in alignment with the Bible. The DNA shows that we have a common ancestor. The psychology shows that we have higher level thinking than all of the animals to even be able to perceive and understand God. The DNA, I'm going to go into the DNA in the next section, and I'm going to go into the science of creation. But I want you to know that evolution says we come from primordial slime, and that something from nothing, that from nothing comes all this diversity and complexity. But creation says that from kind, you get kind, and that this bursts forth at an instant. When God said, let there be light, the boom, that's your big bang. When God put seed of its own kind that we can continue to reproduce and produce after its own kind, that there is a divine mind. That philosophy is going to show you that there is a divine intelligence behind the creation. And if there's a divine intelligence, there's a divine mind, and that divine mind constitutes that it has to be a God, a mind, a God, something that is bigger, something that is greater. The universe precedes man, and God precedes man. He is the creator of the universe. Thank you so much.
Time. Thank you, dear sister. Thank you so much. We coming right back to Brother Free Range at the top of the second round. At the top of the second round, y'all. My goodness. Today's title, whatever side of the planet that you guys are on, the debate title is, did God create man, or did man create God? We're now at the top of the second round with Mr. Brother Free Range. Brother, when you speak, the clock will start.
How long I have? 2 minutes?
I'm going to have 13 minutes, bro.
13 minutes. Okay, great. Thank you. So firstly, she said a lot of things that was very inaccurate, very anti-Bible and science. So again, when it comes to the concept of God, well, firstly, let me address the icktheism thing that she said. Let me get that out of the way. So icktheism, icktheism, is the concept that the word God is so trivial that it has no meaning, because literally you could apply it to anything. The reason why that is important, because to atheists, the concept of God not existing means that if you can show a God that doesn't exist, that person can be an atheist. But then you shift into a phase. She's the sister talking
Sister
to
Nick, so. Sister Nick, I'm gonna stop your time. Sister Nick, mute your mic, sister.
Oh, I didn't know I was off. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, just mute your mic.
Sorry.
All right, Brother Free Range, I stopped your time. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Yeah, so icktheism, icktheism is the idea that the word is so trivial that it means nothing. So for example, if someone say you don't believe in God, I say, no, I don't think God exists. They can say, okay, well, I'm God. And say, okay, what does that entail? They say, well, it doesn't matter what it entails. I exist, so therefore you can't say I don't exist. Okay, you're right, you do exist, but I don't consider you a God. But therefore it goes into icktheism, IG, meaning that the word means nothing. Because you could say a rock is a god, which there are civilizations that believe that certain rocks or certain trees or certain animals represents God. But again, at that point, the word means nothing now because you can just call anything God. So that's what atheism come in. It doesn't mean that we can't comprehend what God is. I can understand that you think something was created, but to your scientific method that you presented, the first word for that method was observation. The first thing. So you shot yourself in the foot with that because you have not observed creation. So it doesn't make sense to think that something can be created, and created, of course, in the context of coming out of nowhere. You only observe modification. Everything you've seen has been modified. You coming from your parents, you were modified from elements that was here, that went into your father, that your father put you into your mother, and then you came about. And the same process has been repeated forever and ever more. The concept of God is a concept that has been created, meaning in the sense that the idea is that men start attributing ideas to factions of nature. And the three elements that I meant to say earlier was these three particular elements is very important. One of them is narcissism. The idea, I said the first one already, which is the idea that man want to cope with the unknown. That's that, as well as, that's the first, coping with the unknown. Of course, we don't understand how things work. So we thought lightning was coming from God being mad, or we thought that God was moving the earth, but we understand how our reality works a bit more. So we got rid of those ideas. We have meteorologists who can tell us when it's going to rain, snow, if it's going to be an earthquake, etc. We kind of can predict some of our nature now because we have ability to do so. The second aspect is a moral concept, which is highly subjective. Each culture has a sense of morality. Each family, each person has a sense of morality. In order to reinforce that is to create a God concept. Now, again, you can do it without God because we've done it before. We continue to do it in certain aspects, generally do government. But people historically have did it through a concept of God, especially when you want to shift the blame to something. If you feel like things are not being done a certain way, you can always put it on someone else. It's kind of like what you do in the work field. Is you want to fire somebody, you don't tell them you're firing them because you don't want them to come back and kick your butt. You say that, hey, the company said we got to let you go. That's kind of what people do with the God concept. So that's one aspect. The second aspect, or the third aspect, I'm sorry, that was second. The third aspect is the narcissism. People like Christina and the other theists believe they have a personal relationship with God. They know this being, they have a relationship with him. They're in the club, you're not in the club. They're favorite, you're not favorite. They have no evidence of that at all. It's just something to make them feel good. They think they're doing the right thing and you need to follow them. But it's like, hey, if you tell me that you speak to Jay-Z every day and he looks out for you and y'all exchange money and all this stuff, Jay-Z is a prestigious person. Okay, so if you knew him, I would like to just see you talk to him on the phone, send a message to him, something. But that requires a lot of evidence, which can't be satisfied because Jay-Z is a real person. But when you say you speak to God on a routine basis, I require the same evidence. How do you speak to him? How do you know him? What does he sound like? Can he make sound like I make sound? Every time we test this, it's never been proven. And I say never, like 100% never. 100% never been proven. To experience God the way you experience the rest of your reality. There's a bunch of lies and make believe, but it should be easier to satisfy. And again, certain groups have kind of evolved the concept of God, particularly Islam, to where God doesn't operate like that. So they just kind of up Christianity in the concept. They don't believe God operates in the fashion that Christians believe, that we're children of God and God has offspring, etc., and all this other type of stuff, which goes back to the Nephilim and other parts of the Bible where God supposedly have children, Jesus. Now, God created men in the Bible like Adam, Elijah, and Malachi without a parent. If you look at Malachi and Elijah, they had no parents as well as Adam. But God somehow made a man, Jesus, by messing up this relationship between this guy, potentially messing up this relationship between Joseph and Mary, to put him in that predicament. And then as a child have to grow up and be hunted, opposed to just making him a man. I mean, it's God for Christ's sake, according to the Bible. So he should just be able to appear out of nowhere and do what he has to do. But none of this stuff makes sense. Again, these stories are adopted for ancient folklore and myths. When you look up Horus, Krishna, and we can go on forever. A lot of these, I think it's Atlas and so many others. These stories are plagiarized, including the Noah story. That story is also plagiarized. There's so many stories in the Bible that are plagiarized that it doesn't even make sense. That book, just like many books before it, evolved from other books. That's why it's a compilation of stories. Fighting giants, living inside a giant snake, talking trees. These are stories that predated the Bible, that the Bible adopted. Okay, Jesus' name you can't even say J in the Greek language because it doesn't exist, let alone they didn't have capital letters and lowercase letters. All of these concepts are created and they are borrowed from other ideas. That is a fact. Everything points to that. She got so much wrong. Scientists doesn't talk about creation from things coming in where the Big Bang Theory is when the myths are represented and misunderstood concepts in modern in current culture. I'll just say in current culture. In the scientific community, only thing they're saying with the so-called Big Bang Theory is that our universe expanded from a central point. They're not saying it was created. They're not saying someone made it happen. It expanded from a central point. That's it. That's all they're saying. The question is, what came before that? We don't know. And that's perfectly fine because, again, we're looking for information. That's another thing that goes back into the concept of God. We're not satisfied with ignorance. God's supposed to represent the known. We think that something know everything, and we have to have attachment to it. Everything had to come from somewhere, and we have to know that thing, and that thing must know us. And since we came from that thing, it must like us and favor us because we exist. There are so many types of human beings and men and tribes and people who have gone extinct, including animals. Our existence is just a mere part of reality. It's not. There's really no significance except the significance we give it. Watch, as an atheist, I cherish every bit of my life. I don't go around making up concepts and try to make these illogical things or unknown things make sense until I can verify they exist in the first place. That's the most honorable thing to do. To not entertain hypotheticals and fictions, but to entertain the reality. So when it comes to man, we can establish morality without a God, as we do, because there's cultures now that don't have a God. Buddhism, Taoism, there's tons of religions right now have no concept of a God. They do believe in spirituals and enlightenment, and they can establish governments and cultures that are peaceful without it. And Buddhism is known for its peaceful culture without the concept of God. It is a reward system of understanding, doing the right thing, not being filled by greed, hatred, and your desires will lead you to peace. And that tends to be a good concept. The golden rule that's in the Bible predates the Bible. Treat others like you want to be treated. That comes before the Bible. That comes before modern religion because these are ancient concepts that men practice, especially as they became more civilized. She said several things I do want to address. I think I pretty much addressed it all, but the bottom line is when you look at the concept of man, this is very important because she said this. She said man come from a common ancestor. Again, that's anti-science. Let me try to share really quickly. I don't know how much time I got, but men have different blood types. We have different different blood types, different of course the phenotypes. We're very extremely different. The pygmy people who are extremely small versus the people who are extremely tall. There's a Nigerian tribe. I can't think of the tribe off the top of my head, but they're known to be the tallest tribe in the world. They average like 6'5". They're tall as hell. You're telling me those people are related?
5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. You're telling me those people are related? The evidence doesn't suggest that. We're very different, especially the blood types. If we all came from Adam and Eve, our phenotypes wouldn't be so different, let alone our blood type. Okay? But regardless of that, if you look at the scale I put out earlier, I'm trying to go to it really quick. The scale I put out earlier that shows that man came from ancestors that were very different at the same time period. Someone was taller, someone was shorter, someone had wider heads and different bone structures, etc. What group of those people did God introduce himself to? I'm gonna show this real quick, then I'm gonna go to the other one. What group of people did God, like right here? And this is what I have to ask Christina, which you could consider the question: which one of these people God introduced himself to, and why are they so different, and why did not keep the so-called covenant he gave them? He gave them a book, which is the worst form of evidence you can give somebody. I'm an atheist. I can write my own version of the Bible or Quran. I can make my own religion, and I can profit off of it well because I know the Bible really well, like a lot of atheists. But I don't because I don't believe it's a solid book, let alone a good book. But in this diagram, what group of people did God introduce himself to? And why didn't they keep his covenant or his word? And why he hasn't reintroduced himself? You see, we don't believe in the same like we did before and now, even during that time. The spirit of religion was not done by people acknowledging God exists. It was done by war. It was done by conquering. It was done by force. If it's so, you don't have to force people to drink food. You don't have to force people to understand they need sunlight. You don't have to force people to think they need to be a little peaceful. To some degree you do, but overall you don't. You don't have to force those things, but you have to force people to believe in God. You have to. All the innate things that we need to exist don't involve God at all. But if it did, don't you think the logical thing God could have did, because he's supposed to be supreme being, super intelligent, couldn't he create something besides the obvious of introducing himself and walking with us, because we're supposed to be children. He should stay with us like a father and guide us throughout the way, like a father, and not punish us forever for his negligence. But if he did exist and he didn't want to deal with us like a negligent father, could he leave something more substantial than the Bible? We haven't been able to change outer space. It would have been nice to look at the stars and see the Bible or some type of guidance in the stars. That would be something. I'm just an idea, something more than a book that has been changed. There's hundreds of different versions of the Bible. There's 7 different Muslim denominations. All right, every single group have their own stuff, and there's so much diversity and confusion that if it's God existed, he would clear it up and one make sure this didn't exist in the first place. But as you see in the Bible, God is an epic F up. He consistently make mistakes. He consistently fail. He's very inconsistent. And the more we understand with science, the more God dies. He gets lesser and lesser. That's why people are not believing in God to the same extent. They may believe in the Creator. They may believe in some type of super intelligence, maybe an alien race. But this idea of a supernatural, all-powerful being dies every single generation.
2 minutes.
Thank you. The way you practice your Christianity or your Islam is different from the way your great-grandparents, let alone your grandparents, practice it. Maybe your parents to some degree, but it shifts over time. That's not consistent with objectivity. It's not consistent with God. It's consistent with how man evolves psychologically, and let alone physically. That's very important. Idol worship, she talks about idol worship by ignoring that she's idol worshiping. The cross is a form of idol worship. The Bible is a form of idol worship. Your imagination is a form of idol worship. You are idol worshiper. You just think you're different from the other idols worshiper. Worship. My idolism is better. That's essentially what religion boils down to. Your idolism is better than other people's idolism. That's what you think. And atheism saying all this is BS. We don't believe in the devil, generally speaking, because all atheists are different. We don't believe in the devil. We don't believe in God. We don't believe in the afterlife, and so on and so forth. Generally speaking, atheists are very isolated. So you do have some atheists who probably believe in superstition and stuff like that, but that's totally different. The bottom line is, the burden of evidence is heavy on you because there's none. Again, creation, there's no observation for it. But when it comes to God, I can create a concept of God right now. I can create my own idea like you did, like many do. That's what evidence points to, and it's irrefutable. I'll land on that so she can get in.
All right, brother Free Range. All right, dear brothers and sisters, that concluded the top of the second round. We're now at the bottom of the second round with tonight's debate title, Did God create man or did man create God? Sister Nick, Super Nick, Sister Nick is up, brothers and sisters. As soon as you talk, sister, I'm going to hit that clock.
I'm ready. So notice that my brother he on his soapbox. I mean, he preaching real good. It's just that I need to see the evidence. I need to see the proof of what he's saying. He's making many false premises and he has nothing to back it up. Now his rhetoric is good for the house of consciousness. We done heard this rhetoric day after day, right? We understand the rhetoric, but it's still rhetoric until you have the proof. See, the difference is I have the proof. I have the proof of the Bible. I have the proof of science, and I'm going to show you. So first and foremost, I want you to see here that the 99%, that's not my stat. I don't got to lie about that. This is the national. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me share my screen. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we can go to the National Human Genome, right? And it's going to tell you what I told you.
Are you trying to show your screen now?
I'm sharing it right now.
Okay, it just popped up.
There we go. So look right here. First of all, this is about blood groups. So this showed that he's talking about it's a diversity in blood groups. 4 main blood groups is not diversity at all, brother. 4 main blood groups for 6.7 million, 7 billion people in the world, close to 7 billion people in the world. And it's only 4 blood types, brother. That's not diversity. See, you have a conflict and a contradiction in your understanding. But let me also show you this. In the human genome, the National Human Genome Research Institute confirms what I said. All human beings are 99.9% identical in their genetic makeup. The differences amongst humans is only 0.1%, and that is what gives us the different phenotypes, which is the physicalities. And so it goes to show, and it supports a common ancestor. I'm going to tell you one more other thing. And so studies, even scientists have says that they believe in a genetic Adam and Eve. Now, the Adam and Eve is not literal, it's figurative, but they do believe that through the Y chromosome that is passed down from a man to a man, only a man can make another man. Let's be clear. And so there's a Y chromosome that is found that can be traced back to the first man that ever passed it down. That supports the biblical account, brother. And this is science saying this. Then they talk about a mitochondrial Eve. Y'all see that here? Study redate the Y chromosome of Adam and the mitochondrial Eve. You'll see all kinds of journals and that supports a common ancestor. In 1987, popular geneticists first demonstrated the existence of such a mitochondrial Eve. That mitochondrial DNA is passed on from mother to daughter and mother to son. So we have in the DNA where we can go back and trace our common ancestor, which proves the Bible right. So let's get back to what the Bible says, because the Bible says a common ancestor. Not only a common ancestor, it showed you that they spread out and they dispersed in the Tower of Babel. Science does prove that dispersal, and it says here that if you see that that people disperse from Africa to many parts of the world, and then even evolution in that in the isolation of dispersing, that then we get speciation, where we get, and the Bible is not against speciation. Speciation is actually against evolution, because speciation saying that in isolation that these genes started to isolate and started to perform similar traits. Okay, but it does not stop the fact that 99.9% is still identical. You see that? So I just want you to know that that's all in the science, okay? And I can prove and back that up. So now let's get back to the presentation so I can show you something. So I want you to see that science, that even scientists say that you can look into creation and you can see the manifest power of God through his creation. And who said it first? The Bible. It says, for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So we can look at the things that are made to see God's invisible traits. Does invisible mean it does not exist? No, the air is invisible, yet it exists. We still are breathing this oxygen, right? Even though we cannot see it. So seeing it and observing it does not make it, it does not necessitate existence. There are things that we cannot see that we know exist, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So this brother and the atheists of the world, they have that God complex. They are without excuse, because God has shown us that all these things that are created, all this diversity, right? That 1 trillion species, 1.2 million species have been discovered. And it says it's about 1 trillion more that has yet to be discovered. And it says, because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. So you are without excuse, because the invisible things can be shown from the creation. That creation shows that we have a creator. Okay, that you have a car because there was an engineer for that car, that all of you, the universe has information and science and knowledge, and is ordered in the most complex and diverse way. And that diversity cannot just come out of nothing. Okay, and so there is a law of cause and effect. Okay, just want you to know the law of cause and effect. Let me show you this real quick. The law of cause and effect. It says that everything has a cause, right? That everything has a cause and an effect, okay? And it didn't just start with Christians. The law of cause and effect states that every material effect must have an adequate antecedent or a simultaneous clause. So what it's saying is that a mass of paper clips is not going to give you evidence for gravitational pull that's going to cause a tidal wave. I can't take a pile of paper clips and say they were the cause of the tidal wave. No, there must be an adequate cause for the tidal wave, like something massive, like the underwater earthquakes that the Bible talks about, underwater rivers and underwater mountains, before 3,000 years before scientists even tried to even fathom that could be. That our Bible talked about it in Job. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then it says that leaning against a mountain, it cannot cause a mountain to topple over. There has to be a sufficient cause. There must be an adequate cause. So this law of cause and effect, it has been investigated. Plato brought it up in 360 BC in his Phaedo, in his book Phaedo, and it is spoken talking about the cause of everything, why each thing comes into being, and why it perishes and why it exists. You can find that in Plato's writing, Aristotle's writing, right? So we know that if there is something here, you can't just say you don't know why it's not there. You just admitted and fell on your own sword, brother, that if you don't know what created human beings, you cannot say that it is not God. You can't say it because you don't know. So the humble thing would be to just say you don't know. And so it's funny because he's saying that Christians are narcissists, but it's them, the humanists, that have a God complex. And the God complex is an unshakable belief characterized by consistently inflated feelings. All the brother has been showing is his feelings of personal ability, privilege, infallibility. A person with a God complex, they refuse to admit the possibility of their own error or failures. They refuse to look at the irrefutable evidence, and they refuse to consider the problems with their logic. They are leaning to their own understanding. So I want you to see that this complexity in DNA, listen, DNA is the proof. It is the hallmark of information. For there to be information, there has to be an information system, and there has to be a language of information. We see that DNA is a sign and a signature of a creator. How is this possible? Because the complexity of DNA, you have four nucleotides, right? 4 chemicals that does not bring diversity in and of itself because it's chemicals. No, it's 4 chemicals that make up a sequence that brings about 20 different kinds of amino acids that produces, hold on, let me show you this. Let me go back. Hold on. It produces 100,000 different kinds of proteins. So from 4 nucleotides, you get 20 kinds of amino acids that makes 100,000 different kinds of proteins and make up your genetic genome that produces 1.2 million species. Now, I tell you, that is phenomenal. You can't explain how something so minuscule, something so small can produce so much complexity and diversity. You have no answer for that, brother. You have no answer for the fact that this is a sequence information and that it's not just, it's like letters, right? A scrambled up letter don't give a message. So the 4 nucleotides don't give the message, but it's the sequence of the nucleotides that actually gives the actual message to the genome. And then they reproduce them, they transcribe them. I'm talking about the cell in and of itself is a factory of information. And information is not just wonderful in and of itself. You have to have the language of the information to understand it, brother. So the Morse codes are just dots and dashes. But if it says help, somebody has to understand the dots and the dashes to know that that is help. That means help me, right? That's the Morse code. We have the binary code of coding in computer engineering. So when we see a screen, all these colors, this blue and this gold that's on my screen right now, behind this screen is nothing but ones and zeros. The ones and zeros is not the information in and of itself. It is the sequence of ones and zeros that gives us the language. And if there's a language, there has to be a language giver. And so the brother is wrong. Let's go back to the slides. He said that Christians are narcissistic, right? But I want you to know that the greatest scientist, one of the greatest Black scientists, one of your ancestors, George Washington Carver himself, his quote, "When I was young, I said to God, God, tell me the mystery of the universe." But God answered, "The knowledge is for me alone." So I said, "God, tell me the mystery of the peanut." Then God said, "Well, George, that is more nearly your size." And he told me, he said, God gave him the mystery of the peanut. He said, as we get closer to God, this is a scientist, brother, a scientist who self-proclaimed said he didn't go into one experiment with a book or a piece of paper, that he would go out and God would give him the information. And he is the one who gave the information to Henry Ford, for the T model. We get closer to God as we get more intimately and understandably acquainted with the things he has created. I know of nothing more inspiring than that of making discoveries for oneself. So we get more acquainted to God through his creation. Is he a narcissist? No, we would say he's a genius. You see what I'm saying? So this brother is stuck in his own head. Look at this. This is the cell. This is the cellular membrane. We get right now our mechanics of your rotor and your striator and your universal joints. It came for the knowledge of this cell, something invisible to your eyes that was discovered in the 19th century. Thousands of years later, that this information is so complex that we use the knowledge of this cell, the knowledge of this information that has been there, and we're just decoding it. Because it is the glory of God to hide the things, but it's a glory of kings to search that thing out. And so now we are seeing the mysteries revealed that God has put in the complexity of man, that the complexity of DNA, the complexity of cells, the complexity of the human brain, and the psychology of that brain leads to God. Thank you.
Time, Sister Nick, time. My goodness, my goodness. Brother Free Range, brother Free Range. This is the danger time, brother. This is the danger time, brother. This is the third and final round, brother, to unleash your information, brother. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right, my brother, you got 13 minutes, and whenever you're ready, brother, I'm going to start the clock, bro.
All right. So this is a prime example of where theists like to depend on science, where they think it benefits them. And they know that it's antithetical to what the Bible says, because the Bible doesn't talk about blood types. It does not talk about information in the cell. It does not talk about different races or anything like that, especially in the beginning. Of course, over time, you say ethnic groups and different tribes were about. But again, they all supposedly came from the same people. They supposed came from Adam and Eve. So the diversity and the logic in the diversity is not there. The only logic in the diversity at one point in time was the Nephilim, who made it with men, which again, God is, I don't know why he don't protect the children, but he's not keeping us pure from these beings who happen to be, you know, some type of, and again, this goes into Greek mythology. The books predates the Bible, and you have, you know, like Poseidon with the Cyclops, there were giants, and then there's other different people of history who got giants as children, mating with man or dominating men and all this other type stuff. But again, you have this correlation that predates the Bible, which she won't touch on and she can't touch on, because she talks about them being, what do you call them? What's the word? Oh, I'm sharing that so y'all can see this. She talks about them being, what do you call, idols and things of that nature. But in all truth, you know, it's the same thing with her book. It's the same thing. It's plagiarized, taken from something else, and she's using that plagiarism to act like it's something new, brand new. That doesn't work anywhere else. It doesn't. It's only religion because you're trying to sustain it based on your belief system, not based on something you can present that's separate from the old stories. So, for example, when we talk about the Bible, and I don't know why she keep going to the Bible, because if God exists, he exists irregardless of the Bible. There's all types of books that, and I know why. I guess I know why, because she's Christian, but she doesn't talk about how and why God created man and the logic behind it. He created sequences and codes that we're supposed to understand. And then what? Is he hiding this information for us to be entertained by? Or is it because men back then who wrote the stories did not understand the science behind it, so they didn't include it? And that would tend to be the case, especially when you talk about Islam, which they like to brag that it's scientifically consistent, but it's not. The information we find goes against the Bible 100%. How men evolve, how men operate today, what it takes. You can pray your ass off for a person who's dying of cancer or in the hospital for a stroke, or somebody who's just been decapitated, or whatever the case may be. You can pray all you want to. It has never worked in the context of proving that prayer will get a person out of their predicament. Never at all. There's some people who are diagnosed with cancer who are on the verge of dying, and they go into remission. That's in all groups. That's for atheists who's been in that predicament. There's Christians who've been in that predicament. There's Islam. Now, again, this is not isolated, because people are telling me to define atheism, which I will do. But this is not isolated in the idea whether God exists or not. That's true, because here's the thing. Every claim has to be examined in of itself. So God exists, that doesn't mean he created things. And if God created things, that doesn't mean he's good, and so on and so forth. But if God existed, you need to draw the correlation if he created man. Because for the sake of the argument, this imaginary being could exist, created another set of beings that created humans. But we won't entertain that because it's too complex, even though we know we came from other different beings. There's too much for them to consider. But all evidence suggests that we came from our ancestors, just like we all can verify. I came from my parents, you came from your parents, and the sequence seems to be infinite. It seems to be infinite up until the point, even beyond the point of us being single-cell organisms. The bottom line is we don't understand certain points. She thinks that is a point against me, but no, that's the honest, truthful position. Keep in mind, I'm coming from the position that we're trying to figure it out and understand things. Hence, we came from a point where we didn't have cars, we didn't have satellites, we didn't have TVs, we didn't have computers, cell phones, we didn't have a lot of stuff. But the more we tend to understand our environment, our world, we operate in a fashion that makes it beneficial to us. That's logical. We get more information, we test the information, we see what it pulls out, and we try to use it to our benefit. That's normal. The Bible claims that this is it, this is finite. If this was the case, we wouldn't be where we are technologically. Our morals wouldn't evolve because, again, we have people who believe in abortion, we have people who believe in death penalty, et cetera, things that just in opposition to the Bible. And again, these are people in the same religion having these different views. In the same religion with the same God having different views on big moral issues. They ignore what the Bible says because they know, like we all know, it's all made up. And what they're doing is taking liberty to make up their own version. So they exclude certain things or include certain things, make their own versions to make it be what it's going to be. They can't explain why there's 100 different versions of Bibles. You can't change the truth so much to the point where it's still the same. When you start changing words around, it becomes different. And we know this. You cannot say the same thing with different words all the time because, again, the words you use are finite and have specific meanings. You can only say the same thing so many times before it's no longer the same thing. And that's why we have hundreds of different books, Bibles, that say different things. The Quran is a little more stricter. They don't have that type of diversity in their texts. However, it's still flawed, but that's a different discussion. We still need to get down to the point of where did man come from versus where religion come from. We know where religion come from. Religion come from man. Men create religion all the time, every day. We do it all the time, okay? Irrefutably. So where did Hinduism come from? Where did Greek mythology come from? Where does Christianity come from? Where did Islam come from? It all points to man, 100%. When we're able on the rare occasions to be able to speak to animals, we can speak to birds to some degree. There's tests for that. We can speak to monkeys and chimpanzees to some degree. We teach them sign language. These are things that we actually can test. They don't talk about a God. They don't talk about miracles or afterlife. They are in opposition to it. They have no idea of what the hell that is because it doesn't make sense to them. And we don't know what it is until someone forces it on us and say, hey, you need to believe in this God. Again, if God was his innate character, it wouldn't have to be taught. It would just be normal like every other aspect of life. So to her arguments are saying, and this is very important, I'm going to get to this when we get to the questions. How do you give an example of creation, period? At all, period. Any creation. You can't, especially I'm talking about specifically to just define the proof concept. Where do you get that from? What scientists does not entertain that idea. They always entertain the idea that something came from this particular point. We get to a point where we can't go any further and we stop until we get more information. That's the honest thing to do. That's where religion come in and say, hey, since you don't know this other stuff, let me just inject my God in it. Since you don't know why this DNA is like this, since you don't know where these creatures come from, I'm just going to tell you it's God. That's dishonest. That's called a lie. Because you get back to the question, how do you know? How do you come to God? Why can't God speak for himself? Atheism traditionally has been a position that God doesn't exist. The most honest position is the position I hold is I don't believe in the claims of a God at all because there's no evidence of a God exists. So it's the lack of belief thing. The reason why you don't make a positive claim that God doesn't exist because you lay a claim to knowledge, which puts you in the dishonest position as most theists. You're saying that you know a thing doesn't exist. You can't really make that claim. Again, the reason why, because I can say Santa Claus doesn't exist. Someone can ask me the same thing. Well, prove it. Well, I can't say that because, again, I'm now saying I have a knowledge of a thing that I don't know. They could, and to be honest, you could look up. There's a guy literally now named Santa Claus, and he lives in the North Pole. That's a real thing. There's a guy who changed his name to Santa Claus. He's in Alaska, North Pole, and he does exist now. But again, he's not the fictional ideal of Santa Claus. I'm saying this to get you to understand what atheism is. It's not a position that is trying to determine the outcome. It's a position on a particular issue, which is the God concept. We don't entertain that because it's not scientific, it's not tangible to the real world.
5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Every single, and I mean 100% with no exaggeration, every single test of God has been proven to be false. Every single test. So it goes in the same cycle again when it comes to the sister Christina. How do you know God? She said she reads the Bible. Okay, I read the Iliad. What does that mean? They talk about Poseidon and Athena hindering Odysseus. I mean, how do we separate the two? Well, a lot of people believe my religion. Well, belief in God is not a popularity contest. So you have nothing to stand on. God is supposed to be this creative character that created things. But again, we have no proof of that. So again, all lies beget other lies. What caused this thing to be? You don't know, but instead of saying you don't know, you say, well, God did it. Okay, sounds like a lie, which it tends to be. Okay, what is God? God is, in so many words, some I made up, but they'll say God is the ultimate creator. Okay, can you show that? And then they got to make up another lie. Well, he created everything. Okay, can you do this? You're going to keep going on and on and on about this character that Jesus constantly make up. And the reason I say this because God and religion is basically ancient comic books that people take serious today. That's all it is. And today we have Thanos and of course the DCU and the MCU. We got better versions and better concepts of creation stories as well as supernatural beings who have these agendas. More entertaining. I don't want to say more believable, but we understand that just entertainment. The Bible should be taken the same way as well as Quran, but we don't because people have been indoctrinated through force to accept these things. It is a dying tradition, it is a dying doctrine. It will eventually expire, but the sad part about it is going to evolve into something else. The reason why most people believe in God, because the concept of God and religion offers prosperity. It offers the idea that you will be taken care of, that someone knows the answers to the mysteries of life, and the only thing you need to do is believe and you'll be rewarded in the end. But then the Bible shows you that God has so much interaction with modern man that why did the interaction stop? Well, let's say it didn't stop. God still showed himself. Yeah, to false prophets, because every person we know now who claims to be a prophet tends to be in it for the money. Every single person who tends to be the most profitable person to be a so-called prophet is in for the money. Again, man-made religion, and they'll keep getting suckers because people want to believe. They like the satisfaction of believing in a God, opposed to accepting the reality that may not be a God. And what you do with that, you live your best life. You do the best thing to make this one life that you might have to be the best it could be. Because again, I don't know if there's another realm after this, and I don't really care for that. I can only deal with now. And right now, I can make it the best. It may not sound as appealing to say that you're going to go and see your relatives and all that type of stuff, because if they existed and they come as ghosts, it wouldn't even matter if we died, right? But we can't entertain that because there's no evidence for it. So the sister has presented nothing to suggest that man was created by God, that God interact with us. It's just a book she refers to that anybody could write and manipulate. So the sister has nothing. She has presented nothing. I mean, zero, nothing about a God existing, let alone, thank you, let alone performing a procedure that would create man. And then and again, I'll end this guy. I know I've been talking for a minute. The God in the Bible created man from clay. Okay, from clay. All right. It doesn't talk about the bone structure, again, the blood type, the heart, the brain. It doesn't talk about the brain and how things operate. It doesn't talk about any of those things. And we know man is just more than just clay, supposedly, or the elements of the earth. Very vague, very loose interpretation, able to be ever used however you want it to be used. To the point, again, goes in atheism, it means nothing. Okay. Now, last thing I'll say on this, God supposedly exists. He supposedly interact with us with the Bible and so-called prophets. We don't need that. We just need him to show up in case closed. He showed up in the discussion, but that's not going to happen because he doesn't exist. Land on that.
All righty. That was Brother Free, F-R-E-E, Free Range, brothers and sisters. We are now at the bottom of the third round. The third round, brothers and sisters. And Sister Nick is on the scene, brothers and sisters. All right, Sister Nick, whenever you're ready, I'm going to hit this clock.
Ready. I come ready. Unlike my brother, he was not prepared. That is the block is hot. He was not prepared for this kind of fire that's coming from the science, that's coming from the scripture. The brother is being repetitive in his thinking. He's showing you the idolatry in the infertility of his own mind. And the Bible says, brother, lean not to your own understanding, because that's all you are doing. The science said that what you said is a lie. And that's it. It is a lie. It's not substantiated. So I don't have to keep rebutting the same facts. But just notice he talked about blood not being in the Bible, when the Bible actually showed some scientific things before man actually said it. So I just want you to know right here. Hold on, let's share the screen. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Just want you to know that the Bible said first that the life is in the blood. Anybody who knows Bible know that that is Bible. That the life is in the blood.
Now, sister?
I'm sharing it right now. Can y'all?
All right, hold on. We don't see it. We don't see it.
It's right here.
Okay.
All right. So the Bible says that life is in the blood, right? And you can find that in Leviticus. Hold on. Let me show you real quick. Hold up. Let me show you real quick. Let me just pull it up for you. Life is in the blood. And so God forbade, life is in the blood. God forbade them to eat animals with the blood still in it. I'm going to give you the scripture real quick to show you that man always follows the Bible. Man and his knowledge, he discovered things the Bible knew 4,000 years ago. So it says, for the life of a creature is in the blood, and I have given it to you to make atonement for yourselves on the altar. It is the blood that makes atonement for one's life. So this is Leviticus chapter 17, and this is verse, hold on one second. Let me give it to you real quick so you can get the verse. Leviticus, and so life is in the blood. Now notice this. This is verse 12. It's 3,500 years ago. Now I need you to understand that the bloodletting, the history of bloodletting, this is the British Medical Journal with a history spanning at least for 3,000 years. All this time they had the Bible, but bloodletting has only stopped in the late 19th century. And it's been discredited as treatment for most ailments. So man had this wrong, the same way this brother has God wrong. The Bible had it right first. These people were draining people's blood, right? What is the process of bloodletting? This is when you drain the blood, right? Because you think that it's going to give some kind of life, but it actually doesn't, okay? It's actually killing people. So I want you to see that the Bible had that right first. Not only did the Bible have that right first, the Bible had it before the science. The Bible had that the earth hangs on nothing, that it just hangs on nothing and rotates on the axis, right? And so men believe that in Hinduism, as he mentioned earlier, that the earth hung on elephants. Let me show you this real quick. They believe in that it was hanging on elephants. That was their explanation for why the earth was like it is. Here's a picture of it right here. Let me show you this picture. You see this? So this is in Hinduism. They thought the animals, that it was 4 large animals that was doing this. Then when you see here, you see in Greek mythology, they thought one of the gods was holding up the earth. So man had that wrong, but the Bible had it right. Not 3,500, I'm sorry, over 3,000 in 3,000 BC. They had it right. Does that make any sense? This is another mythological reason for why the earth was what it was, that it was a tree holding up the earth. And you see that here in this picture. So I just want you to know, I agree with him that man gets it wrong, right? Man gets it wrong. But listen, it wasn't until 1475 when this brother right here in 1475, I'm going to tell you his name. His name is Nicholas Copernicus. Nicholas Copernicus. And so in Job 26:7, he stretched out the north over the empty space, and he hangeth the earth upon nothing. That's in the book of Job, 3,000 BC. That's actually, I'm sorry, that was more close to 5,000 years ago. I said 3,000. I apologize. I misspoke. So I'm just trying to show you the Bible had it right first. Okay. So in 1475, Copernicus, he's an astronomer. He found that the earth hangs literally on nothing, and that the earth hangs in space, that it is free floating in space. So ancient cultures had it wrong, and the Bible had it right. It sets it apart. Guess what else? Nicholas, I'm showing you a little bit more about Nicholas. I'm sorry. And so here, hold on one second. Nicholas Kemetics, let me say what else he said. Let's see what he said about God. He said, the universe has been wrought for us by a supremely good and orderly creator. So even the person who found this out, he is the person who discovered that the sun, right, that the earth actually is rotating and the planetary alignments is rotating around the sun. He found this out as well. He found out about the planetary alignment and all the things we know about the powerful sun. He's still saying that this points to a creator. And he knows, and he has enough humility to say that. And my brother doesn't. Let me show you about another person. This brother right here, he is the one who coined the term that the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. This brother thinks, he's saying what I can't prove, what I can't prove, what I can't prove. But he ceases to realize that a debate is about what he can prove. And he has proved absolutely nothing, and he has no evidence. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. This was the direct quote for Carl Sagan. And who is he? He's an astronomer, a planetary scientist, a cosmologist, an astrophysicist, an astrobiologist, science communicator, and a professor. So if there is a lack of evidence of a presence of a thing, it does not always conclude that the absence of that thing totally. There might be a gap in our observation. So even he, in humility, is saying that scientists are not arrogant as atheists and igtheists, but they are humble enough to say that our observations can be limited, that there may be a gap in the research, which leads to an evidence of absence. Here, just like the alien theory, he was talking about like aliens, we cannot always conclude that a particular thing does not exist. And our space center is actually spending billions and trillions of dollars on space exploration for something they don't have evidence that exists. So I just want you to know that goes to show that people can invest in it. And so I need you to know that this is an illogical way. An illogical way. He did not deal with George Washington Carver with another quote who says, I love to think of nature as an unlimited broadcasting station through which God speaks to us every hour if we will only tune in. So if you would only tune in, he said, why don't God communicate? Why don't God just tell us? Well, he did, brother, for the ones that tune in, for the ones that actually listen. He said, if you seek me, you shall find me. Other things the Bible proves. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea? So in Job 38:16, it talks about water flowing in the ocean. Back then, they thought the water flows straight from the sky and from the rivers and from rainfall. That's what ancient man believed, right? They believed in the God of the rain. But the Bible told you first, you heard it from the Bible first, that the springs and the oceans, they were discovered in 1970. In the 70s, we discovered by scientific information 4,000 to 5,000 years later that the Bible was right, that there are currents and rivers in the actual ocean, that springs come up from the ocean floor, right? In 2 Samuel 22:16, and John
5 minutes,
it says the ocean floor contains deep valleys and mountains. Science back then and man back then, they assumed the ocean floor was flat. And science today is telling you that the ocean floor has live volcanoes under the ocean, that there are springs and hot valleys, and that mountains actually can arise from the ocean floor and never be seen by the naked eye, right? We heard it first in Leviticus 15:11 about washing your hands because of disease, that you would need to wash it in running water. We talked about quarantining in Leviticus 13:45-6. And you know, in COVID-19, that's all they can tell us to do is go in the house and quarantine. Well, the Bible said it first. Deuteronomy 23:12-13. The Bible said it's an understanding that there's a need for quarantine and cleanliness and washing of the hands, that Pasteur and the ones who, I can show it to you in an article in just a minute, that it was not till the 19th century that they'd even understand that doctors had to scrub in. and that they debated it for 50 more years. And so the mortality rate of the women people were not living past childbirth, because the same doctors that dealt with the mortuariums and dealt with the dead bodies would come and deliver the babies and did not understand they had to scrub in. And that was in the 19th century, y'all, just 150 years ago. They didn't know you had to wash your hands, but the Bible said it first. You see that? And so you got to understand that the Bible understood quarantining and the unspreading of uncleanliness. And if they understood that, the bubonic plague that happened for all those years would not have happened in the medieval period. Come on now. The Bible said that air has weight, that it actually has mass. That's Job 28 and 25, before the science. The science came after the Bible, right? And so they thought air was weightless. And we see that it has matters. The number of stars are uncountable. Jeremiah 33 and 22. In Genesis, he said, look up at the stars if you can count them, right? He said, that's as many as children you would have. Well, Hippocrates said that there was 1,022 stars in ancient science, right? And science now says that there are millions upon millions upon millions of stars. They are uncountable.
2 minutes.
So this is just some of the things that the Bible got right first. And the Bible condemned divination and superstitions and the things and the false gods that he's talking about. Leviticus 19 and 26, it talks about divination and all this extra stuff that people got going on. No, brother, the Bible is against that. And he told us that that wouldn't go well for us. The laws and the order of nature are fixed. Genesis 8 and 22 says this. Jeremiah 21 and 35. This brother doesn't understand his Bible. He doesn't understand his science. He doesn't understand that the Bible got it right. That all of the universe is pointing to a divine mind, a divine God, right? That even philosophers understood a divine mind. Let me show you this. The philosophers got it right. Look at this, that that the word of God, the logos, is not it's something that's in John chapter 1 in our Bible, that logos is the creator, is the word of God, right? In John 1 and 1, in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word was with God. Well, philosophers had that concept of logos first. Heraclitus was the first in BC 535. And he was telling you that there was law and order and destiny and calling and purpose, and that the archetype of the universe was in the logos, and that it was a divine ordering. And then we see others, Stoics, saying that it's a divine mind, a divine intellect, mind or material. And if there's a divine mind, the universe is God. That disproves you, brother. Even if people say the universe is God, there is something bigger than man. There is something greater than man. And you got to say what that something is. Who ordered the universe? Who created man? I say it's the God of the Bible. The science proves it. And you proved absolutely nothing. The science said you're wrong, brother.
Time. My goodness. Brother Free Range, my dear brother. You have a final 3-minute rebuttal, and this thing is wrapping up to be a classic, y'all. This debate is wrapping up to be a classic, brothers and sisters. So, Brother Free Range, are you ready for your final 3-minute rebuttal, good brother?
Yes, sir.
All right, when you speak, brother, the clock is running.
Got you. So the sister again failed to explain how man was created. She said God created man. Then, of course, you solve a mystery with a mystery, or you give a lie to fix a lie, which only makes it a lie. You say that God created man, but you cannot display God at all, let alone the process of how it's done. And when you look at the Bible, again, as I stated before, shows it's flawed. Every single story has its creation story involving God, saying how man was created in some fashion. Again, this is extremely important. The sister cannot do this. I said she cannot. And she said this argument that I'm using ignorance or lack of data as a form of evidence. In some cases, that is the case. Because right now, if I told you I'm holding on to a baby elephant, you're seeing me, and clearly you don't see a baby elephant that I'm holding on to. So therefore, you can conclude I don't have a baby elephant. I cannot make the argument that just because you don't see one, I don't have one in my hand. No, that's clearly the case. But in this particular situation, this being who is ever present, who is all powerful and created everything, has not shown himself at all, let alone any of his properties. Every single testament of God comes from man, including your book. And that book was plagiarized. A fact. The stories in that book come before that book by other cultures. And that book was compiled. If you look up the Council of Nicaea, you understand Constantine, hell, even Paul himself, according to the Bible, was composing their own aspects of that book. But all of that is irregardless of God creating man, because that's a whole other thing in of itself. We don't need that book to suggest God created man. We need God to suggest God created man. We don't have God. Now, all right, so what's the next thing? Creation. Do we have creation? We don't have that either. We have no creation. We have modification, which is the social, since you got background notes, the social and colloquial understanding of creation, which we can all accept. But again, we don't have that creation. So therefore, we don't entertain it. It's not logical to assume that man was created. Now, she talks about atheists who have made some denotion to God. That's perfectly fine. Again, people believe in God for many reasons. One of them is narcissism and a sense of hope, the sense of understanding that there is something greater than them. That's a normal thing. People like to be optimistic about their reality. It's not logical. It's just normal. It's like when people are about to die, they may call on a God only because they hope something can save them. They become delusional. They become very erratic because they need to cope with their reality. I'm drowning. I hope something can save me. I hope something beyond my normal powers, especially the power of man, can get me out of this circumstance. People do it in jail up until a certain point where they may change religions. God is supposed to be this irrefutable, logical, self-evident character. And every time we test this hypothesis, it turns out to be wrong every single time. Every single time. All the evidence, as I said it before and now, supports man creating God. It is a figment of man's imagination. It's not because I say so, because the evidence shows so. How do you know God, Christina? Because you was told he exists, never met him before, but your imagination start entertaining things. So what you do, like other theists do, the decisions you make, you say, well, God told you to do it. Or something go wrong, you say, well, God was, telling me, not to do it, or the devil stepped in or something. You start making excuses for what goes on in your world. And this, for you, is good enough evidence that God exists, as well as that book, but not the actuality will actually occur. You don't think you get sick sometime, regardless of God or the devil? You don't think
time, brother Free Range? Time. Yeah. My goodness, brothers and sisters. My goodness, y'all. 3 rounds of thrilling debate arguments between Mr. Free Range and Sister Christina Nick, brothers and sisters. We are broadcasting live right here on Sarnetta TV, right here on Sarnetta TV. And this is the ultimate debate league, brothers and sisters. The ultimate debate league, CEO'd by your brother, your boy, the Bishop, Black Jesus Minister, the Ecclesiastes 3 Kemetic Christian. What's going on, Jabari? We gonna get you there, brother. We gonna get you there, Jabari. And your boy, LV Europa of Clubhouse Streets, y'all. We need everybody to go to Black Jesus Minister YouTube, all one word, Black Jesus Minister YouTube, and subscribe and click that notification bell. And likewise, go to Clubhouse Streets. Go to Clubhouse Streets, brothers and sisters, and meet LV Europa and subscribe at that brother's channel as well. Brother Sarnetta, are you back yet, brother? Because I want to share my screen.
I never went nowhere. I've been here for the whole joint.
Okay. I'm just okay. And I'm going to thrill the people with the Ultimate Debate League theme song, fight song, created by LV Europa. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it here in time, but but LV, I hope I did you some justice, brother, on this debate, because man, this has been exciting from beginning to the middle, because we ain't at the end yet, y'all. We ain't at the end yet, because we have the question round coming up, where the debaters are going to ask each other 5 questions. And then after the question round, we will have a 5-minute conclusion. But right now, guys and ladies, if y'all want to take a restroom break or enjoy this theme song from the Ultimate Debate League.
The channel. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go over to the channel. I'm gonna start a.
All right. Is he still talking? All right. I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So, Sonetta, if you will share my screen, I'm gonna share the Ultimate Debate League theme song, fight song, a song and created by LV Europa of the Ultimate Debate League. If you'll share my screen, Sonetta, I appreciate that. And brothers and sisters, y'all can chill. We finna jam for a little bit, and we're gonna chill for maybe 5, 6, or 7 minutes, y'all.
Hey.
All right.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Black Jesus.
Yeah.
Does this song include that other kid over there?
No.
So he don't mention that kid at all?
Not at all.
All right, let's get it.
Let's get it, y'all. Some of y'all might want to go up and do a little bump and a little move, you know what I'm saying? Get a little groove on. This is LV Europa, brothers and sisters, with the Ultimate Debate League fight song called Show Me the Proof. Show me the proof. Show me the proof, y'all.
Going beyond the stars, where no man, no woman has gone before. The ultimate debate league. Subscribe by popular demand.
Will be.
Yes. Well, this does feel like a grand rising of Europa. I'm learning the truth. No time to be wrong. If you say something dumb, I'm on your boots. What the fuck is you on? I need proof from the root. I need sources to state that fact. I bring that back right back to the truth. I'm learning the truth. No time to be wrong. If you say something dumb, I'm on your boots. What the fuck is you on? I need proof from the root. I need sources to state that fact. I bring that back right back to the truth. Run that back. I'm sensing a lie. That ain't consistent. I'm hearing it different. I'm hip to the mission. You hear the vibe. Still in submission. The key in ignition. I flip it, transmission to see how you drive. The linen, I see how you winning. The top teddy sticky. You know how it flies. True. Come out like surprise. Life is a cake. If you wait, keep it straight on the pace. Can't wait to give me that pie. What about straight from the roots?
Yeah.
That's straight from the roots. Need me some proof. Need me some proof. That's straight from the roots. Straight from the roots. I need proof.
Yeah.
None of that other shit, nigga. I don't need rhetoric, nigga. I need the proof. I'm learning the truth. No time to be wrong.
Yeah.
Say something dumb. I'm on your boots. What the fuck is you on? I need proof from the root. I need sources to state that fact. I bring that back right back to the truth. I'm learning the truth. No time to be wrong. If you say something dumb, I'm on your boots. What the fuck is you on? I need proof from the root. I need sources to state that fact. I bring that back right back to the truth.
All right. Also brought to you by Black Jesus Ministries, brothers and sisters. Yo, boy, the bishop. And that was an authentic song, brothers and sisters, by our CEO of the Ultimate Debate League, Brother LV Europa, brothers and sisters. Y'all need to go over there to Clubhouse Streets on YouTube and subscribe to that brother's channel, brothers and sisters. And y'all need to likewise subscribe at the Bishop's channel. Yes, indeed. Here's the Bishop channel, y'all. Yes, indeed. Black Jesus, brothers and sisters. Y'all see that? Y'all see the channel, right? Y'all should see that channel. Go right on over here. I think Brother Bishop got about 1,030 something people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe tonight we might have 1,100 before the night is over with. But brothers and sisters, go right there to Black Jesus Minister YouTube, brothers and sisters, and subscribe and click that notification bell, baby. My goodness, I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate Sarnetta and the Sarnetta TV HOK family. All right, Brother Sarnetta, I'm going to unshare my screen. If you got any words for the people, brother, we will proceed with the question round after your words and anything you want to advertise or say to the people. Brother Sarnetta. All right, Brother Sarnetta might be gone, so I guess we can sing another song. Huh? But anyway,
no, sir, I'm right here, bro. I'm right here.
Okay, you want to say something to the people before we proceed to the question round?
Yes, what I want to say real quick is I want to let the people know what we got going on. So this is break time. And so real quick, I gotta let the people see this. Those of y'all who have a business, man, go check this brother out. I'm showing this for a long time, man. And y'all need to go and give him a call, talk to him, inquire some information from this brother. He helping those who would like to help their business grow. Check.
Do you want to make money online? That means you're going to need a website. Go to kingtutoring.org business services. There, you'll be able to collect payments from your clients all over the world.
All right. That was a smooth commercial right there.
We all know what's going on at this time, Christina, Nick. You could play games. You could take this lightly all you want to. And I'm saying the same thing to Nepal. Y'all could take this lightly if you want to. Y'all have now, be careful what you ask for. You are now in the big leagues. This is going down June 24th. Christina, Nick is the Kemetic priesthood, the prototype of the Leviticus priesthood. Christina, Nick is saying no. Everything in the Bible, none of this stuff comes out of the Kemet. We got our own thing rocking over here. This is what Christina is saying. Nepal is saying no. It's like a copy. It's like a plagiarize. It's like coming right up out of the heart of Kemet. This is going to be one y'all don't want to miss. Two fiery sisters, man. I can't wait for this. Black Jesus, will you be in the building for this?
Man, you know I'm going to be in that building, bro. You already know that, bro. I'm going to try to get me a front row virtual seat. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. That's all I wanted to bring in. Black Jesus, continue on. You got a 5 questionnaire going on back and forth. Let's get it.
All righty. Now, the first person to speak was Brother Free Range. So, Brother Free Range, I'm going to give you the choice, brother. Would you like to ask your question first or have her to ask a question first?
Yeah, I can go first. It's fine.
All right. Now, do you want your questions to be successive or you want to alternate?
That's a good question. Let's alternate.
All righty, sir. You have the first question.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see here. I got several of them. Let's see. I'm sorry. Bear with me for a moment. Let me see. Okay. The first man that was created. Okay. I want to make sure I can preface this question, so I don't want to go on diatribe, but I can preface this question a certain way, right? I don't have to just go right to the question. I can at least give context to the question. You mute, Minister.
Yes, you can give context leading up to your question. Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Christina, from the diagram I gave before, since man has been around presumably for several million years, How did God introduce himself to man to create the belief of man? How? Hello?
All right. I hope the sister isn't frozen.
Oh, I froze for a second too. I don't know if she heard me.
So,
can you hear me, Christian? Oh, okay.
I did. Let me make sure I repeat it back. So how did God introduce himself to man?
Correct. I mean, creating a man is one thing, but yeah, to introduce himself, when man became a consciousness to be able to perceive God. So how's that
How
process
did he reveal
work?
himself to man? Okay, that's an easy question. Thank you so much. You notice I took my hat off because this brother's gone, man. Drag him out. This is a body bag, bro. The bandit has been revealed. So how did God, and this is easy. So if you knew your Bible, Genesis chapter 1, it talks about creation, and then it goes into chapter 2 when it talks about God creating him in his image, talking to him and telling him, giving him directives, telling him to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, have dominion. So God revealed himself to man the same way he's doing it today. God talks to man. Even George Washington Carver said that God talked directly to him. Leonardo da Vinci, he believed in God. He was a theist, and he had things, and you didn't know he was not just an artist, but an inventor. And he wrote down stuff about people, and he drew pictures of people, and he made inventions that the prototypes. Now, he didn't create them, that we use 400 years after him. So just simply because he communed with God, God created man to relate to them. He talked with them in the cool of the garden, it says. And so we see that in Genesis 1, 2, 3, and 4, that he is the God that relates to man.
Okay, right. Oh yeah, it's your turn. I'm gonna come back with that. Go ahead, it's your turn.
Okay. So my question to you, now you earlier that you cannot know how man was created, right?
Say again.
Is that right? And if
you broke up, I didn't hear you. Say again.
Earlier in your presentation, you said, "Can y'all hear me, or y'all can't hear me?"
Yeah, we hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
Go ahead. Now,
yeah,
yes.
You good now.
So earlier you said that the way the universe and man was created cannot be known, right? For certainty. And so my question to you didn't say that?
No.
Okay. All right. So then my question to you would be, how was man and the universe created? If you didn't say that.
So yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, because I don't believe that the man or the universe was created. So I definitely didn't say it. So again, there's no creation because we never observe creation.
How did it come to exist?
Yeah. Okay. So things have always existed, always, forever, because we like to believe, or theists like to believe, God is eternal, but matter and energy is eternal. We have not seen energy be destroyed or created. So everything existed in some form. Everything just changes over time. You can call it evolution if you want to, but things continuously change over time. So that has always been the case as far as what we can examine.
All right. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. So if God created man and introduced himself like you explained in the Bible, then how come all, not most, not many, all of the oldest religions believe in paganism and they did not have the Bible or express anything pertaining to the Bible?
So notice this. Now, I can't tell you certain.
God is telling you stop lying.
No,
He's cutting you off. You got to stop.
And
we can't hear you. We couldn't hear you.
Doesn't say that. No, hold on. I'm going to answer your question. So notice that this is my time. I just want to answer your question. So notice that now he wants me to explain about how paganism developed, right? Notice that paganism does believe in creation gods. And so I would say paganism developed from imagination. I would say that it developed from the fact that they looked out in creation and they knew there was a creator. They just did not know how these things came to be because they did not have the Bible. And so that's how that would happen. So because they can see creation, they did come up with myths and things for how these things happen. But the Bible had it right when paganists had it wrong. The Bible had it right when the science had it wrong. And so the Bible stands the test of time. And notice that even in paganism, there is a creator of man, and there is a creator of the universe. At least in all their ignorance, they had enough sense to know that this is bigger than them, and stuff just can't just exist. The law of causality says that that is false. This brother don't believe in the laws of nature. He don't believe in the Bible, and he does not humbly be able to say what scientists and paganists say, that there is a creator.
All right, Sister Nick, question 2.
Question 2. All right. So my question to him would be, since he doesn't, but do you understand what historical science is, Free Range? And could you explain to me what historical science is and the difference between historical science and observational science? And so discuss the differences between them, please. Tell me what historical science is and the difference.
The historical science and what else? What was the other one?
And the difference between experimental science and observational science.
Yeah, it's easy. Oh yeah, experimental science, you have to have the material data there. Historical science is generally social studies, where you basically examine what is proclaimed, whether it's by doctrines or material evidence that could be writings on the wall, things like that. So you try to conclude rational deduction from what is presented at the time, which is very flawed because, again, as we know, our literature can be very flimsy and not accurate to the culture at the time. But material evidence on hand is much more testable because it's present and we can examine what it is. So yeah, so one is mostly social and the other is more tangible material.
Okay. I got a follow-up question, but I can wait.
Sure. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I did choose this back.
It could be my third question.
No problem. Go ahead, Jason. Yeah, I know something. Okay, cool.
Well, let's keep the order if you guys don't mind, because y'all gonna confuse me over here. Okay.
Right, no problem.
All right, go ahead, Brother Free Range. Question number 3.
So, simple question, may seem confusing, but can you give me an example of anything being created? And when I say created, I don't mean being modified. I mean something that was not in existence. The material wasn't there, and then material came about. Can you give me an example of anything like that?
So anything that's being created.
That has been created.
Okay. So we create our thoughts first and foremost. So we can actually create ideas in our head. That's what you have done today. I can also tell you that when it comes to creating something, nothing.
She's breaking up really bad.
Phenomenons that we claim, supernatural phenomenon. And if I had time, I would take you on this actual. I'll take you on the tabs, and I can show you some of those phenomenons. So where something was not there previously, and it begins to actually exist. So some of those things would be. So there are divine miracles and healings of people actually like growing out of a leg, like actually their leg growing out, or you can have where they miraculously got something there that was not there, or something was removed that was there and now it's gone, like a tumor that was on an x-ray that was actually there and it leaves. And so we have creative miracles, signs and wonders confirmed by the Bible, and that is confirmed as something called a medical miracle. And we have these things. I just want you to know that babies, where people could not have babies at all, that a baby actually forms in the stomach and comes to exist. I would not call that from nothing, but from the impossibility, from barren wombs that could not produce a womb. Even babies that died in the womb come back to life. We call this life. we call it creative miracles, and supernatural activity can be not necessarily explained by science, but it can at least be confirmed by science. So we have scientific facts of that.
All right.
Yes,
Sister Christina, your question number 3.
My question number 3 is, do you agree or disagree with the science? I heard you say that it was flawed. So do you agree with the science or disagree with the science on the Big Bang Theory or on the theory of evolution, whichever one you want to pick? And I would like for you to explain which science model you agree with for the universe. And then whichever model that is, if you disagree with it, tell me why not. And if you agree with it, tell me why. Explain the model and tell me why not. Do you agree with it?
Gotcha. So I do agree with them. Yeah, I agree with the model of evolution. Generally speaking, there's different ideas, but generally that life transforms based on the environments that is in, and over time with potential necessity. Meaning that if the circumstances are presentable and the time allows, the creatures will transfer over time. As we see now, certain kids are born with lower levels of testosterone or estrogen or whatever. So we're mutating all the time and changing over time, all the time. Some of it is engineered, and some of it is natural. But again, the science of which is of course a little more.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the origin. I'm talking about origin.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. Yeah, I'm getting that too. No, I got you. Yeah, I'm getting that too.
Okay, so I need you to explain the origin of science, of how did it originate. So that's what I'm talking about, origins.
So right, so there. Okay, gotcha. So there is no origin. There's just certain stages of changes. There's no first thing. They're just stages.
So are you saying that, or does the science say that?
Well, both. So I'm saying that, and the science say that too. Science. See, here's the thing: scientists can't tell you what the outcomes are or what the beginning is. They're gonna tell you what they have found so far. So we examine a certain stage, a certain evidence, and try to get an understanding of that. They can't just determine what the beginning is. Again, they're men trying to understand the reality, not men who are saying they're getting divine information from a being who's giving them this info. They're trying to understand the info that's presented. So with that said, understanding what's being presented by scientists as well as my personal research, what happens is that we have gone to a stage in time as far as back as we can go to what is considered popularly the Big Bang, which is understanding that at some point in time, the universe expanded from a central point, and that's as far as back as we can go. We don't know what created that point or if that point was created or anything like that. We have no idea, but we're trying to figure it out. And that's perfectly logical because we're trying to get more information as was presented. So the more technology we develop to test more things, the more information we get. And fortunately, we can live long enough to understand a greater deal of reality as we have so far. And as you try not to be long-winded, but as you see here, only
we're going to unfortunately time, brother. Unfortunately, time.
Okay.
All right. Brother, free range, question number 4. Correct?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Are we on? I just want to make sure we're on question 4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, sir.
Gotcha. Sis, if God created man, why? Let me see. Let me try to word this better. Matter of fact, yeah, let me word this better. If God created man, why are there mutations in man throughout time? If God is a perfect being who created a perfect specimen, why are there so many changes in different phenotypes with man if we all came from the same common ancestor? Do you believe that supports evolution, or do you believe that supports?
Yes. Okay, I got you. Are you ready?
Gotcha. Okay. Sure.
Okay. So that's an easy one. And I just want y'all to notice that he does not know the science. He don't agree with the science. He said that there's a point in the Big Bang Theory. That point would be an origin. Point means there's a starting point. So he cut himself with that. And that not only does the Big Bang, but evolution says that it starts at a certain origin. That everything, all the diversity comes from something. And we call that primordial slime. I showed you that. So the question is about.
She's not answering the question.
He described
change. Well, hold on, brother.
I'm answering the question now.
No, hold on, Christine. Hold on, Christine. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. So, brother, if she's going, off too long, give us some time because I did allow her to kind of correct you a little bit too. but
That's
give her
right.
a little time, and then if she's going too long and she's not going in your direction of your question, then go ahead and say something. But go ahead and let her speak, and if she doesn't go in your direction, you can kind of guide her, and then and we'll just continue from there. So go ahead, Christina Nick. Go ahead.
So this is going in my direction because I'm going in his direction. So he said, what about the mutations? Well, he started describing the changes over time, and we believe in changes over time. We believe in mutation, spatiation, adaptation. We believe in microevolution, the change in DNA over time because of degradation. And so not even just degradation, we actually cross-pollinate and we manipulate the genetics. And we've been doing this. This is ancient science of manipulating corn and doing things agriculturally and with animals, with breeding that actually limits diversity. It doesn't create more diversity. And so these mutations is from man and from the degradation in nature. There was a fall that happened and it created death. And over time, this death caused a degradation in our environment, which causes mutations in our genomes. The isolation of species as well causes a certain level of mutation as well with the inbreeding and the isolation. And so science proves that as well. So speciation, adaptation, and microevolution is confirmed. And I major in biology. Okay, so I'm just saying it's not against the Bible.
All right. That was Brother Free Ranger's fourth question. Christina Nick, question number 4. I think she's freezing up again. Brother Free Range, can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, Ms. Nick, you froze for a little bit, so you're at your question number 4 now.
Am I here now?
Okay, we can hear you now.
4.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that
she's going in and out again?
I can hear me. Okay, I can come in on my phone. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but can y'all hear me now?
Okay, yeah, try it one more time. We can hear you now. Try it again.
Okay, so here's the question. He said that our book cannot be substantiated. And so my question to him is in the Bible. And so my question would be, what other texts? I would like you to name the text and tell us about how we were created that would tell me what other text that can give you, that stands anywhere close to the Bible, that can give you the origin and purpose of creation and the origin and purpose of man and the meaning of life. Why is man here? And tell me that name of that text and tell me what does it describe and how is that so? What is the meaning and purpose of man through that text?
Are you saying in Bible, in the text of Bible, or just
no? That's outside of the Bible. Anything that's comparable.
Okay, well, I'm an atheist, so I don't believe in any text because in this reality, there is no quote unquote purpose. The only purpose we have is the purpose we make. And since there is no God who has came to us thus far that we could prove to say this is why I made you and this is why you exist, that doesn't exist at all. There's only text by man, which is why we're talking about man's creation, the Bible, and the concept of God. Man created those things to give their reasons of why man was created. But as far as a deity existing to explain his or her or its purpose of creating us, we have nothing to go off of that is substantial. So in summary, nothing. Did she freeze?
Question is to type. That's to know.
Okay, brother, Free Range. Did you complete your answer?
Can you?
I did. Did she hear me? Did you hear me, sis?
I hope she did. Did you hear his answer, Christina Nick?
I did.
Okay. All right, brother, Free Range.
I heard
question
his answer, but he's the question. Okay.
We're going to move on to question 5. Brother Free Range, question 5, sir. Go right ahead.
Final question.
Last question.
Absolutely. God created man in his image, according to Genesis. I think it's 126. He created man in his image. He liked that he created he like us, something to that effect. Then he again confirmed the creation later on in that chapter, chapter 2, I think 2.6. Anyhow, whatever. He also confirmed man being more like him after eating the fruit in the garden. And then God says, according to Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 6 through 7, that God regretted creating man, as well as, of course, the various versions of God creating man through other theologies. But since you believe this is the one, then this is the one we're going to talk about. So since God regretted creating man, as it says in Genesis 6, verse 6 through 7, why didn't God create man in a perfect fashion where he didn't have to evolve, that he didn't have different blood types, and that more importantly, he didn't regret his creation? Why wouldn't this God make the creation the way he created if he's perfect, super powerful, and super intelligent?
Can y'all hear me?
Miss Nick.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am. Now we can. Did you hear the question?
Okay, so this is an easy one. I heard the question. And so why did God create man? He was not perfect. I want you to know that in Genesis chapter 1, when he created man, he said it was surely good. That the first thing that he said was not good was for man to be alone. But everything in creation was good and was created for the glory of God. It was all created to reveal his glory. But he created man with a nature of a free will, to be able to choose to fellowship with him, and freedom of choice. He gave him that freedom of choice, and he made him a moral age. This is how he's different than the animals. So in that freedom of choice, he gave him the choice, which you have today, to choose life or death, and to choose to eat from the tree. And they chose to eat from the tree that made them aware and made them self-conscious over God-conscious. So in their self-consciousness and their self-awareness, the same way you're aware that you can think and you think you can create a God, that they became a God unto themselves to do whatever they want to do. So in Genesis chapter 6, it said all the thoughts and all the things of man were evil in Genesis chapter 6, in that same verse that you're saying. So it gives you the reason that they became evil and so sensual and so caught up in the creation and themselves that they were futile, because they were not revealing the glory of God. And it's the same thing with this crazy bugged out ideology that you can create yourself and that you can actually create God, someone you don't understand, someone's whose wisdom you are far beyond you. You think you can create the most powerful God. That is the futility that I'm talking about. He gave you a mind and he gave you freedom of choice, and he allowed you to use it the way you decided to use it, because you are God on this earth, and that's it. But you're not God of the God.
All right, Miss Nick.
So
last question number 5.
My question to free range, my last question: can you show me anywhere in history where the first concept, I need a date, where the first concept of God is mentioned, or where it came arise? It could be monotheism or polytheism. I don't care. I need an origin for this concept of God, because it seems like you would say that people were atheists until this concept. So prove to me that mankind was atheist and did not believe in God until this set point of time when they created God. Show me a point in time when God was created by man. Can you do that?
All right, Brother Free Range. I don't know if he fell off. I don't see him on the screen. Maybe I'm having difficulty seeing the brother. Brother Free Range. I
don't see him.
He might have to pop back up in here and having some technical difficulties, some connectivity issues. That might be the situation.
We'll wait
but
for
again, yeah. But again, brothers and sisters, and to the UK, to the HOK family, and to the HOK family all over the world, let me shout out to Triluminati in the UK. Triluminati in the UK, what's going on, Sniper? What's going on, brother? All the brothers and sisters in the UK, yes, indeed. We looking forward to coming over there and doing our thing in the UK. We love y'all. As a matter of fact, we love everybody all over the world. And thanks to Sarnetta, we are able to reach the entire planet from this great platform. So brothers and sisters, be sure to subscribe and help Bishop Black Jesus Minister and his platform grow. Go to Black Jesus Minister YouTube and subscribe. Go to Clubhouse Streets, brothers and sisters, and subscribe of LV Europa. I hope you guys like that song, Show Me the Proof, Show Me the Proof, Show Me the Proof. If y'all like that song, give me a 1 in the chat. If you didn't like the song, give me a 3 in the chat. If you like the song, give it a 1. If you didn't like it, give it a 3. Show me the proof. Show me the proof. Roof. Hey, son, you want to say something to the people, bro?
Man, I want to say, great debate, man. Great debate between both of these, the brother and the sister. Powerful debate. Are we going to hear from Linger? Are we going to hear from Linger now or later?
Well, we were going to try to get in a 5-minute conclusion. Yeah, we was trying to get in a 5-minute conclusion in the last question. No, I think we finished the questions, right?
Well, we waited for him to answer. He popped off.
Yeah, he's supposed to answer. Right, he's supposed to answer.
Maybe he's running to get that answer real quick.
He was looking at that phone real hard, though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
there he go. There he go.
Backstage.
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. All right, brother. You ready?
I'll repeat the question for him.
Yeah, please, yeah. And I love the audience, man.
So I said, can you show me anywhere in history, right? For you to say that man created God, until a certain point, man would have had to be atheists. Now, I would like you to tell me, what is that point? What is the date in history? Can you show me where man first grabbed the concept of God? I need a date, a year, something that is really precise, and tell us about how this came to be. So show us how they went from being atheists to actually believing. And I need the point first, that date. Can you show me that?
Yeah, I can show you that. So, and people keep saying I'm not sharing my sources, which I'll address that later. But anyhow, Mesopotamia, which is of course the Sumer area, which of course Mesopotamia turned into Sumer turned into Babylonia. So it's of course in near Israel, as you see here, Lebanon, Syria. So this is ancient day Mesopotamia. In this religion, in this culture, this is the oldest religion we can find. And of course, they talk about a new Enlil, Enki, ancient alien stuff. If you want to study some more, your boy Zacharias Hitchin have a lot of books on this. This is the origin of where the God concept come from, as far as what we can test so far today. And again, like all the old religions, they had multiple gods. Anu was the highest. Enlil, Enki, Ninti had a good deal of them with the stuff. As is, of course, all
right, I think the brother freezing again.
Which is also back. So in Zoroastrianism is the oldest monotheistic religion, which is one God. That's the oldest one for that, and that's about 4,000 years old. Older than that is Hinduism, which is paganism. So around this time, which is essentially about 12,000, 10,000 years ago, they created this. Here go 14 BC. So that's the time frame right there that's listed. I know my time is up, but yeah, about 10 to 14,000 years ago.
All right. So
we done. Yeah, we done. So brothers and sisters, that is the end of the question round. And so brother free range, because you went first again, I'm going to give you the selection to go first or last in your 5-minute closing round. And you can do less than 5 if you want, but not more than 5.
Gotcha. Is it me? Is it on me or is it on Chris?
It's on you. I'm gonna let you make the call. Do you want to go first? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So people was asking me to prove my stance, which my stance is that God come from man's imagination and man created God. I don't need to show science or studies for that, because men have imagination and we create all the concepts. We create, again, the Marvel universe, the DC universe, Star Wars, the list goes on. We have a phenomenal imagination and we primarily use it for entertainment. The difference is people took these stories serious through history to where they were trying to mold men to be a certain way. And they saw the influence and power, they saw the comfort in these beliefs, and therefore they made this what it is. This is a psychological thing that goes on with men. We do it all the time because we create concepts of God, superstition, to satisfy us. That, you know, bad luck, miracles, all types of stuff. We do it all the time. So I don't need to produce a study for that because we literally do it all the time, every day. Some of you got lucky shoes. Some of you feel like you have a lucky hat, or if you do a certain thing, a ritual that it grants you something. We do this all the time. This is what men do. The logic of the matter is, can we use those claims to verify what we think they produce? So if I say I wear a lucky shirt, therefore I get good things happen, or on a certain day of the year, certain things happen. Can I test that to be the case every time that year happened, every time every time that day happened, every time I wear the shirt, etc.? It is a thing we do to mold our reality so we can satisfy what we think is the unknown or the patterns that we like to share. Meaning that, you know, holidays, which again, most of religion come from paganism. So all the holidays we have, Christmas, Easter, all that stuff come from pagan stuff. So all these are things created by man. Christianity and modern day religion has adopted those things and practiced those things wholeheartedly and ignored the origin of those things. You only stole those concepts from paganism, which got you your God that you have today, which means that you're literally practicing a form of paganism, but you ignore it. And paganism, as we know, was created by man. And you would say that, but you call them idols. And of course, as the sister has shown so far, the idols that she is okay with are the ones that she's going to praise, which is this God character. And I think she believes in the Trinity, so she believes in Jesus and she believes in the Holy Spirit. She just like it. Only argument she makes is that she prefer her idol. That's what it boils down to. And what I'm saying is to her, as well as the rest of you, her idol is just as irrelevant as all the other idols. It's a comfort belief. You were told to believe that. I used to believe it. What changed me from believing that, like the many other atheists, which we are a minority, is that we start being objective about what we believe. Do I have good reason for believing this? Do I actually hear God, or am I actually hearing things in my mind? Am I making up stuff? Which I was. If I did something I wanted to feel good about it and want to feel justified about it, God would tell me it was cool. And if I want to feel regret about it, God would tell me it was bad. Or the devil or some other creature I made up in my mind. But coming out of that mentality, I understand that I was in control of all of it. So when I do something I think is wrong, I know I'm in control of that situation. If I do something I feel is right, I'm in control of that. That's just the reality. The karma concept, which come from Hinduism, the golden rule, all this type of stuff, which come from Buddha, these things, again, are plagiarized, and these are concepts that men embrace, which is a good thing. We should take good principles and good teachings from other cultures and use them if they produce a good result. The God concept hasn't. There's been many wars and lies and destruction based on these ideas. It's not inherently bad because there are decent people in theism, of course. But those people are using it as a guise to operate they want to operate. And I'm okay with that to some degree, because some people may need to believe in superstition to trick themselves into doing good things, or what I deem is good. So the sister cannot prove her claims about man creating God, which I have proved my claim about about God creating man. I proved mine about man creating God, because God is just a figment of first imagination. And anybody, including me, can create a God. I can create God the way I want to create God, just like God has always been created. She cannot show a God, she cannot show creation, and she cannot show the process of God creating man. It has not been displayed. That's why the scientific community don't operate on those premises. They don't entertain the concept of creation. It is a belief system, not even a theory. It's not even a theory. We don't have an example of something not existing to say that this thing wasn't a thing and now it is a thing. And the sister said earlier about beliefs being created. Those are not called creations, because creations are tangible to our reality. That's why they call ideas. You can't patent, you can't copyright an idea, because anyone can always say, I had that idea. It's a fiction. It's not real. And keep in mind, our ideas are predicated on what we observe in our reality, tangible things. So we only have ideas about things that we've experienced. It's just a modification of our actual experience. So even then, we're not even creating. We're just going off things that we have thought about from our reality. So I know my time is wrapping up. It's been good debating, sister. You lost this terribly. I wish you well in your future debates. But there is no God and there is no creation. And hopefully you come to find that. Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Free Range. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Christina, Nick. In the nick of time, you got 5 minutes, sister. In the nick of time, you got 5 minutes in your conclusion.
Reg him out of here. He's dead. He's stinking like Lazarus, dog. He's been down for the last 3 rounds. You feel me? It's time to resurrect this brother. This brother does not believe in the science. He showed you that. He don't believe in that point that they talk about. He doesn't believe in the philosophy. He believes in his own thoughts. He have not proved nothing. He talked to you about Marvel movies and TV characters. That's why he come up here dressed like Bane as the Bible bandit with his face, because he believes in that stuff. But he has not showed us the science or the facts. You see what I'm saying? So get this brother out here. I showed you in the scripture how the scripture predated science and got it right. I showed you where God specifically tells you how he actually did it, why he did it, and what he did it for. I showed you the complexity of man that he cannot do. He cannot make his heart beat or stop his own heart from beating. He can't stop his lungs from breathing. He cannot create air. He cannot explain it. You see that? He cannot explain the origin. Even Nimrod and Sumner and Babylon, that's in your Bible, brother. The Bible told you about Nimrod. The Bible told you about Sumner and Mesopotamia and those religions that came in Genesis chapter 10 in detail, brother. So you are confirming the Bible you refuse to read, to refuse to get understanding, that even all science shows that there's a point of origin, that the universe is not just infinite and expanding, but it started from a point, that even your thoughts is intellectual property. And that from all things that are created, they first form in our mind. And there was a divine mind that formed everything you see that cannot be seen, that was not seen before, but it was in the mind of God. And so even Hebrews 11:1, it says faith is the substance, the materials of things hoped for, and it's evidence. So we're not talking about blind faith like what you got. Blind faith that you can come on a debate without resources, that you can sit up here and talk from your mind and not prove a thing that you said. No, we're not talking about that kind of belief. You had some strong faith, brother, coming up in here, some belief to come up on the most the hottest environment and think you were going to get away with that. You proved absolutely nothing. You cannot show us. And even when you gave us a time in Sumner, it was a 4,000-year gap, and you did not show us the transmission of how they would have been atheists and came into being theist. You cannot show us. You're done. You're cooked. Saram, it's a wrap, brother. Drag you out. It's done. Bane has gone down. The bandit is done. And I've shown you that all of creation, even scientists agreed that you can look into creation and see that there's a creator. That science does not go against the Bible. The Bible said it first. The Bible gives us meaning. And the gospel is that God loved us so much that he created man to relate to him and to reveal his glory and to have dominion. Get rid of the idol of your mind, the idol of your own philosophy, because it's not the philosophy of Philo, and get rid of your own deductions, brother, and yield to the fact that you are limitless to the great creator and all-powerful God. I proved my point. I conquered, I did what I set out to do, and I showed you it in science and philosophy and the Bible. Thank you so much, guys. Easy.
Thanks, guys.
All right. There it is, brothers and sisters. It's judgment time. It's judgment day. It's judgment time from Brother Inga, the judge. The judge is in the building, brothers and sisters, balling and crawling, swinging and banging, all the way from Houston, Texas. Brother Inga, you about to take over, bro. You about to execute, bro. And you about to dish out the punishment, bro. So, brother, are you about ready to do that, my brother?
Yes, sir, man. That was a knock down, drag out. Yeah, I'm ready to do this. So,
all right, brother. We are all ears, Brother Inga. You have the floor, bro.
So, can you go over how you want me to do this?
Yeah, basically, dear brother, we would just like you to, before you render your plain decision, who you're going to give the win to, we want you to kind of at least give us an assessment of both of the debaters. what you thought about their performance, and then go ahead and give us your assessment as to what you thought some of their strong points were, what some of their weak points were, and then give us your decision, who you thought won this debate and why.
Okay. I got my notes here. I'm gonna go by round first, and then I get that judgment out. So in the first round, free range came out very strong. Uh, Based on his claim that God changes as we get more knowledge. He did come out and uh, state that point, made that very clear. He said that the religion started off as being polytheistic, um, and then she did agree with him during that round that but she did say it wasn't a god, it was idols. So she kind of agreed with him that they created the gods in the beginning. So I think that first round was very close. She give me 1 second. I'm trying to read this note. Good. She did come back to rebut his story about the Tower of Babel and how he was claiming that God was equal to man, or man was equal to God. But she came back and showed how God was more powerful. That was really close, but because she did agree, I kind of gave free range that first round. Um, the second round um, was a good round as well. Let me get my summations together. Let's see here. Observed. He started talking about. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, y'all. So in the second round, it was another close battle. There was some good rebuttals in this one. The brother started talking about the blood types and things like that, showing that men evolved, um, saying that but the blood types made them different and like that, and things of that nature. But she countered and showed that we have four different blood types, and it's not very diverse. He said that different blood types made. I think he said different blood types made the men different, made us different from the early quote unquote humans. But we have different blood types today, and she proved that, and we still all considered to be human. So in that round, she was much stronger. Um, Give me 1 second. I was writing really fast. There's a lot being said. There's something that was captured in there. Invisible. Okay. And that was the gist of that second round. My third round, I gave that round to her because she did prove about the blood types, that you can have different ones, not very diverse. That doesn't make you. He didn't prove that humans are not humans. He didn't prove that we're different type of people and things of that nature. So I felt like she edged him in that round. In the third round, um, I believe that she pulled away. In this round, she gave evidence of the Bible being correct about a lot of things and science backing it up. These things, he did not rebut those statements that she had made. Um, she kind of showed um, that they were correct without even having any evidence. In the first round, he said that you have to have evidence then to have an outcome. But she showed that they didn't have evidence and they did prove the outcome. So she kind of reversed his whole argument in the third round. So in the Q&A, It was a back and forth. I didn't think a lot of the questions in the Q&A kind of went to the title, but let me go to the first question here. How did God show himself? The first question was that how did God show himself to man? She did answer that cleanly. She went straight to the Bible and what she believes and showed that God spoke to man. So I gave that answer to her. Question 2. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. How was God created?
For time's sake, dear brother, are you assessing each question, or can
Well, I'm
you
not
like
gonna
give?
do that. I was gonna do that, but I can't do that. I
Yeah, well,
thought about
can
that.
you
Yes,
give us
sir.
like like a verdict for the whole question round? Who you think won the question round?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm looking at all of them together right now,
Okay.
and I'm looking at the last one. That's why I said I ain't gonna go to each one. I'm just reading every which one. I
Okay.
did write down everything. So origin from concepts. Okay, the verdict for the question round, I gave that to Christina because the main question was about proving that there wasn't an origin that wasn't thoroughly explained. I got nothing to prove his point, to show that science is agreeing with him, that anybody agreed with him. Everything, and I guess I'm giving you a summation over the whole thing. So the whole battle was over did man create God or God created man. She came with evidence. She came with scientists. She came with the slides, quotations, things like that to substantiate her claim. He did not rebut any of her claims with any kind of anybody that quoted anything. He didn't come with science. He just came with a lot of things. Only thing he came with was about skulls and humans and evolution, but nothing else. But she actually had quotes from scientists, from people that believe what she believed. She came with facts, the Bible versus early science versus actual science and what now. So that's my verdict. It was very close. Um, I just don't think that he proved his point or rebutted her enough to win.
All right. So your verdict is that Sister Nick has the W, Brother Inger. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
All
Wow.
right. All right. Well, congratulations, sister. Congratulations. And congratulations to Brother Free Range, dear brother. Thank you, dear brother. And we
Yeah.
want to hear words from you, Brother Free Range. And then we're going to hear from Christina Nick, who got the W on tonight. Go ahead, brother. Final word.
Yeah, I definitely want to channel this. So this is a big problem with the judging for me. So I don't need another person's opinion to verify my source. I should be able to do my own source and get my own. Now, again, I am kind of new to this platform. I didn't know I had to create a slideshow. She just told me that beforehand, and that's fine. But the information I provided was substantial enough that man have a pattern of creating God, literally. Every concept of God comes from a man's mind. There's no presentation of God at all, let alone God or creation. She didn't prove creation at all. She went to the Bible and said what the Bible said, which for whatever reason that's a source, but it doesn't show. It's just a book that says God created man. It doesn't show creation or man being created. She didn't prove God. She didn't prove creation. So I understand how she won. And my position literally is, which is just common sense. We can create imaginations or concepts from our imagination, and we've done it and we do it. And all the evidence suggests that literally every single civilization, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Sumerians, every single one, we don't even practice those religions no more because they died. People stopped believing in them and they just went to a different religion. So I understand how I lost when I continue to prove that. What you don't want, you need me to show you a coloring book or something? You need me to show you pictures to show that, as if you don't know that? If that's the case, then I'll show pictures next time. But this doesn't make sense. I lost because I didn't show pictures. as if we don't know what I'm saying is true or something that could be. And I did show some of the pictures. Last thing I said on this, to not be long-winded, the diagram I showed was showing man evolving through a sense of time that scientists do agree with. In the most of that evolution, the concept of religion and God didn't exist. That's a fact. So you're telling me all this time, man did not come up with God until a certain point in time when man was creating civilization, they did. But God knew that existed the whole time and didn't provide them guidance or a book or anything? Come on, man. She didn't rebut that at all. But it's fine.
All right. Hey, Free Range, real quick. I want to let you know, brother. I heard you say this is new for you, this platform. No, that's not the rules of my platform. Okay. That's Black Jesus platform. And my debate, where the toughest environment to be in, we don't have judges. We use the people to judge, because the people are smart enough to say who won and who lost. Not only the people that's here, but when I say the people, I'm talking about the entire people, not only on YouTube, but people that watch it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just my house. So when you debate here, believe me, is no judges. Is no judges. That's just an individual who voiced his opinion. But see, when you have the people judging, that's when you got more than one, and you got everybody voicing their opinion. So that's their stuff. That's how they do it. That's not how the toughest environment do it, brother. I just wanted to say that because I heard you say, "Oh man, I'm new to this over here." No, that's not me. That's not us.
Okay.
So, all right, let's hear from Christina Nick.
I'm just hosting this debate this evening for Black Jesus. That's all. But go ahead, Christina, you know.
All right, so that's a great alley-oop for me to dunk on this brother, and I'm gonna try my best to have some really good sportsmanship, because you know, criers gonna cry, losers gonna lose, but only winners can win. So I'm just saying this to say, source up or shut up. Now that do come from the house of consciousness, and that's one thing Sonetta need to let you know. You gotta come with the sources. So you can come with the rhetoric, brother, but you gotta come with the sources. And you had Neil Null, and we cannot trust your thoughts. We can't trust your feelings. So you lost with that easily. If anybody, even if they don't like my doctrine, even
so
if
you
they
trust
don't like
somebody else's?
I'm a double major in biology and chemistry. So science is something you will not be able to defeat me on. First and foremost, let's be clear. But the Bible is the foremost thing that you can't do it on. So I just want you to know that I beat you on all platforms. I'm not trying to sit up here and rub it in your face. I think it's already clear. Anybody who says otherwise, it's just their bias, and I understand. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, these are not my words. I showed you the words of scientists. I showed you the words from journal articles and from NASA. I showed you that you don't agree with the science. I showed you that you was not ready, not just for the House of Consciousness, the Ultimate Debate League. You're not ready for the debate community just yet, brother, but keep trying. You're very intelligent. You're very eloquent. You feel me? And once you get those sources to back you up, once you get knowledgeable of your opponent and their stances, you're going to do a little better. So you don't worry about it. You got your mask on. And I thought that was an omen in my superstition that you were here to lose, because we ain't losing to nobody that's scared to show their face. I ain't losing to nobody that don't know these scriptures. I ain't losing to no one that can't come with it. So you better bring it, brother. So you didn't bring it, and I trust the judge's decision. And I really do believe that anybody who's in the debate community, who's used to debating, can see the errors and where this brother failed. And so I'll let the audience speak for itself. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication. And I appreciate you. I'm stepping over you. I'm going to the next round. I'll see you at the top, because the bottom is just too crowded. It's too crowded.
Damn. My God. Brothers and sisters.
Black Jesus stupid.
Stop, man.
Sonetta was being nice to you, so he can welcome you back.
Hey, but free range, brother, free range. I'm over here laughing because she's funny. But brother, I appreciate you, brother. You came over here and you gave her a problem, bro. You hear me? It wasn't easy, bro. I'm a seasoned debater, and it wasn't that damn easy. Now, so again, thank you, brother Free Range, and thank you, Sister Nick, for representing the Ultimate Debate League. Will Sister Nick become the Ultimate Debate League champion, brothers and sisters? I see a whole lot of people saying, hell yeah. Well, we gonna see it. It seems like you got all the women on your team too, sister. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But brother, free range, brother, stick close to the Ultimate Debate League, brother. We're gonna have more tournaments and more debates outside of this because we're gonna put you up against the greatest debaters in the world, bro. You hear me? Here you are. Nobody knew who you were, and you are debating one of the greatest debaters on the planet, bro. You hear me? And you did a great job. Keep sticking with us, hanging with the Ultimate Debate League. Get to know Brother Sarnett and come on over here. You know what I'm saying? And do your thing, brother. And let's grow together. You understand what I'm saying, brother? All right. I hope that brother heard me. Brother Freeman. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And Brother Inger, thank you, sir, for taking your time, sir. Your time to listen to this entire debate and give us your detailed assessment, dear brother. Thank you, Brother Inger. Final words from you, sir, and we finna get up out of here. We're going to get up out of here with a laugh. I got a video to make y'all laugh, y'all. Yeah. Go ahead, Inger. Say something to the people real quick.
I'm available to stick around a little bit, sir, to promote.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sister. What you say, sister?
I was telling Son that I can stick around for a couple more minutes to promote the upcoming debate and take some questions, too.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Okay. All right. Hey, so go ahead, Inger. Last words, brother. And I'm going to play this funny video and make everybody laugh. Go ahead, Inger.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie. It was a tough debate, man. It was knockout, drag out. Like I say, if I had seen more sources, it was really tight. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you did a great job, man. Keep on debating, man. And once you start learning how the debates goes, you like they say, source up or shut up. Hey, man, I've seen a million of these debates. You're gonna be a problem in the future, man. So keep on.
All righty, there it is. Brother Sarnetta, you remember me telling you that before I came to HOK that I got my start at TRS Talk Real Solutions with Brother Tyrone Thompson, the atheist, the Brother Tyrone Thompson, the atheist, and Brother Howard. You remember me telling you about that?
Yes, sir.
This is a cartoon version of your boy, Black Jesus Minister, and a cartoon version of Tyrone Thompson. Shout out to Talk Real Solutions. Shout out to Brother Howard. I'm confronting him and his atheism, and I think that it is very fitting for this show. And
whose video is it? Whose video you showing?
It's my video, bro. It's a video of me.
Okay.
All right. Will you put it on the screen? I'm gonna play it. Y'all get ready to chuckle a little bit, y'all. This video goes all the way back to 2015. 2015, y'all, at Talk Real Solutions. Tyrone Thompson and Brother Howard, y'all. And Tyrone Thompson is wearing the A shirt, the atheist shirt, with the A circled. That's Tyrone Thompson. Cartoon Tyrone Thompson. Let's go.
All right. Let's go to the next unknown caller.
Black Jesus Minister, boy.
Black
Jesus Minister, boy.
At 626, who's online?
What's
That's
up,
Joshua,
man?
right?
Yeah.
What's up, Joshua? All right, Black Jesus Minister, what you got, brother?
White boy, Tyrone Thompson. You slouchy nigga. Hey, boy, what you think you doing over here? Huh? You know you're on the wrong side of the argument, homie. You already know it, so I don't know why you're going to sit up here and waste a whole hour trying to kiss yourself. That's what I'm talking to. You was talking to nobody but yourself for a whole hour, clowning. Everybody laughed at you. Listen at this nigga with his scared self, trying to talk up some boldness. Nigga, yeah, you know something gonna happen when you die, boy. You know you be praying at night and jumping on here on TRS, faking and shaking and telling everybody about, the Bible, put the Bible down. I ain't scared. Nigga, you know you praying at night, nigga. Don't try to play me home, boy.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let him finish, y'all. You talk for a whole fucking hour, brother.
Hold on, boy. Your name ain't Black Jesus.
Your name is Black Jesus. And what are you talking about?
Shut up.
JJ,
Tyrone. So face it, brother. Just face it. You being a little Oreo, Euro Negro, Neanderthal, Cave Beast, Black Anglo-Saxon, Sambo House Negro, Coon, Atheist Agnostic. White boy Tyrone. Here, say, you the one adopted the white man's religion of atheism and agnosticism. Ain't none of that in Africa, homeboy. So
there
you
was no
need to start
Christianity in Africa.
Man, you are dumb.
Ain't nobody dumber than you.
That's fool. Now get off of here. You ain't been listening to my show, dumb ass.
Last night I gave
you you the dummy.
And you lied.
You have not listened.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, guys.
Oh, it's going to be a fire in here.
What all these other black Jesus come from? Man, your goddamn.
Y'all gonna have to let me. Y'all gonna have to let me moderate. Okay, Black Jesus, let me say this right here. Y'all gonna have to let me moderate. We can only do one at a time. And yes, Black Jesus is saying all kind of crazy stuff, but I want to let him get it out so we can tear into his ass. So go ahead, Black Jesus.
All of these fake Black Jesuses sit down with a real Black Jesus stand up, like I always do.
Wrap it up.
Why? Well, look here, man. When you gonna sit up here and stop being a little coward and a big mouth and debate me, brother, whether God exists or not? You've been running for 2 years now, ever since I've known you. When you gonna stop running? Let's debate.
You want me to answer
tonight, tomorrow. Let's do it, brother.
Debate what?
Do you want me to answer that? Well, I won't debate you.
Man, it's nonsense.
Well, that's what I'm going to answer him. Let me answer you. The reason that I don't debate.
Answer the question. Yeah. When you,
okay, I'm going to.
No. Just say if you're going to debate me or not.
Listen, don't say you have to go on mute. Now you're on mute. Listen, let me say this right here. The reason that I don't debate Black Jesus is the same reason I won't debate the Cat in the Hat. I won't debate Spider-Man or Superman. So I can't debate you because you will lie to people, Black Jesus Minister. What did you do, hang up, nigga? This nigga hung up.
I hope y'all found that funny, y'all. Thank you, Brother Sarnetta. Thank you for hosting the Ultimate Debate League, brothers and sisters. Love y'all very much. And thank you, Brother Tyrone Thompson, for that memory and that cartoon. If you guys want to watch any more Black Jesus Minister cartoons, subscribe at Black Jesus Minister, y'all. YouTube, all one word, and click that notification bell. Thank you, Brother Sarnetta. And thank you, Christina Nick. Thank you, Brother Inger. And thank you, Brother Free Range.
Thank you, Inger. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
What's going on, Sarnetta, man? What they going to do with me? What they going to do with me, sir? I'm mute.
Now you're going up against a real champion now, Christina. I want to see how you,
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out why I can't hear you good. I can hear you.
All right, now you're getting ready to go up against a real champion now.
That's
a sister, a woman who been debating, and she have a lot of experience now, Christina. And I know you got the experience. Are you prepared for this, or are you studying for this, or are you underestimating this woman? And I speak of none
I'm
other.
not. I'm examining every angle that she can hit me with. So I'm seeing it from the eyes of a person who is a Kemetics, who would say, I'm examining it from every angle, Si. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going in. I am studying, and I did go. I'm in my college libraries. I got all my stuff on Kemetics. I can show you some of the books. Y'all want to see some of the books I got?
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
want to see a couple
of
of the books I got? Let me show you a couple of books I got.
Oh man, Christina taking this joint serious, bro.
Hold up. This one, Abydos. This is about the cult of Osiris, right? The specific history of the cult of Osiris. This is throughout the whole history, the whole timeline of how the Kemetic priests minister. It's all about the cult of Osiris, like all about.
Oh shit, Christina ain't praying, boy.
Hold on. Daily life in Egypt, we got that. I got several. I got a bunch of
we
them.
done got her into Kemet studying now.
Look at this. The death and burial in ancient Egypt. This is just a few of them. I ain't sure. I got like 10 books. 10 books, right?
Oh,
so I'm
man.
with my A game. And I just want y'all to know, not only am I studying and I'm disciplining, I'm gonna have my presentation ready a week before, right? We ain't gonna have no issues. I'm gonna have all my sources outlined. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what if you end up starting to have second thoughts, third thoughts, and fourth thoughts of becoming Kemet and realizing
never that.
Don't never say never.
I serve the true and living God.